Okay, we all set, Charlie? Okay, a motion to open the meeting?
Motion to open the zoning board of appeals meeting at 7:45.
7:45, second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, welcome to the, this is actually a special meeting tonight for deliberation only, and there's no public input. This is, we're going to deliberate on application 2014-12 and also 2014-4. My name is Tom Wakefield. To my immediate left is town clerk, the board clerk is Julie House, Dan McDonald, Kathy Franson, Mike Wood, Jane Moran, and Bill Dunn. And so we have some other business I'm going to take care of quickly here, and then we're just going to get to deliberate. I've got a letter from the Conservation Commission that I received at a conservation meeting last Wednesday, and it's to the Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals. Dear Mr. Wakefield, the Groveland Conservation Commission would like to update the Zoning Board of Appeals on the status of our efforts at 441 Main Street in Groveland to have Estes Park Realty comply with Mass DEP and local wetland bylaw regulations. In October, we received a complaint from an abutter that there were several wetland violations occurring on the property, violating both Mass DEP and local bylaw regulations. We notified the owners and arranged a visit to 441 Main Street on October 17, 2014. That morning, we met Mr. Eric Harper and Mr. Larry Ogden and visited the entire site, including the 200-foot buffer zone to Merrimack River, which is our area of jurisdiction under Groveland Wetland Protection Bylaw and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Our concerns were that there would be no building activity within the buffer, no dumping materials within the buffer, and no further disturbance of the buffer zone. It has been reported to the Commission that these activities were taking place on the property and potentially within the 200-foot buffer. Upon inspection, we found the following activities taking place within the buffer zone. 1, there had been some exterior improvements and work performed on 1 or 2 existing buildings within the 200 feet of the river. 2, there had been landscaping, including walls, mulch, pathways, completed within 200 feet of the river. 3, a number of boats in states of disrepair were parked within 200 feet of the river. The Commission had received no notice of this work or storage in the area of jurisdiction, nor had we issued any permits for these activities. We asked the trust to stop all activities within the buffer zone immediately, and Mr. Harper agreed. In a follow-up letter, the Commission requested a delineation of the buffer zone on the property and a mitigation plan for the activities that have occurred within the last year or will occur within the buffer zone. We received a full delineation of the site on December 1st as requested. Mr. Harper attended the meeting of the Commission on December 10th and discussed potential plans for the site. An abutter was at the meeting and brought several requests, most of which were not within our jurisdiction. We did ask the trust to plant trees along the planned berm on the east side of the property to mitigate any noise to abutters. The trust has also advised the Commission of drainage and erosion problem on the west side of the property. The trust advised that they were in the process of moving all stored items out of the 200-foot buffer zone, including boats and floats. Finally, we asked the trust to file a notice of intent to cover all recent landscape work and any planned work within the 200-foot buffer zone. Mr. Harper agreed. On December 11th, we again visited 441 Main Street to review the erosion problem on Johnson Creek and the broken drain pipe that was reported to us at the meeting. Subsequently, we issued an emergency order on December 18th allowing the trust to repair the broken drain pipe and erosion along Johnson Creek. That work was completed in early January. An additional visit was made to confirm the work was completed to our satisfaction on January 7th. On January 7th, we confirmed that all boats and additional equipment had been moved out of the 200-foot buffer. We were assured the final floats along the river were in the process of being moved out of the buffer. In addition, we noted the trees had been planted on the berm placed along the east side of the property. At this time, the site is in full compliance, and we do not believe that there are any other open issues at 441 Main Street. We are expecting the filing of a notice of intent from the trust when current building and site plans have been designed. It is the opinion of the commission that the trust and Mr. Harper have been extremely cooperative with our request. He has been very responsive, giving us full access to the site and working to complete our request in a timely fashion. Please call our office at 978-891-5361 if you have any questions or require further information. Sincerely, Michael Dempsey, and Mr. Dempsey's here tonight. I just have one question, Mike. I know that at the meeting, there was some discussion about one or two floats that hadn't been moved yet. Do you know where they've been moved as of today?
No, but we sent an additional letter to the trust asking that they be removed by February 11th, so I've been assured that they will be removed by February 11th.
Can I write that on the bottom of this?
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. So that's already been articulated to Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Okay. It's two floats, wasn't it? Two? Yeah. Okay, I think, excuse me, this is just for record keeping only. I'll give this to Julie, she can put that in the file. We have another a letter that, from the, no, let's stay on this. I've got a letter, oh, who's got the letter? I gave it to you. I received a letter to my home address dated January 9th, 2015, from Heather Kowalski, who was the broker involved. This came after the closed public hearing, so that I'm just going to give it to the secretary to put in a file. There's no need to. There's no need to even talk about that because it was after the meeting. The only other item before we get going, well, two. We got a letter here from the Water and Sewer to Brad Legals, who's the owner of Old Town Oil, 16 Evergreen Lane, Groveland, regarding the special permit 1099 for 16 Nelson Street, fuel oil delivery truck storage building. And it says, "Dear Mr. Legals, I'm following up on a decision the board made regarding illegal water service to your building located at 16 Nelson Street. You were informed at public meeting 11/24/2014 that you had 30 days to comply with the department's request listed in a previous letter dated 11/13/2014. As of this date, there's no communication to this office to resolve this matter. The board voted the last public meeting held on 1/5/2015 to lien your property for the amount of $500. Respectfully, Thomas Cusack, Superintendent." And I'm wondering if this would rise to the level of a complaint as outlined in the special permit for a recall of his permit. Can we have a discussion on that?
Well, does it say pursuant to,
Well, it says special permit. There was a special permit issued, and we issued a permit, and if there's any violations, it could be recalled.
In the special permit, did it state, the special permit state about water or talked about water?
We'll have to get Julie to look at it. I believe it did. We
it's
talked-
pretty much blanket, you have to comply with all
You have to, I have to apply with all of them.
regulations,
I think we should issue a letter to have them come in.
health and safety.
What do you-
Well, if the special permit talked about water and specifically talked about water, we probably should find out what it talked about.
I remember it being about
Yeah,
runoff, definitely.
Yeah, I think we
No,
talked
no, I'm
about-
talking about the
Well,
water line.
Water
I-
supply, I don't know.
We'll, since we just got this, we'll put this aside and we'll deal,
Pull out the permits.
we'll pull out the permits and check it out.
But, Chair, is that,
Yeah.
is that in our justification to talk about a water line?
No.
But in the special permit, it would have to say
Yeah,
that.
no, it's in the special permit.
Right.
And if we mention it, which I believe we did, then that would be a violation of the permit, we'd have to bring them in.
Well, if it talked about in the permit,
Yeah, we'll check it out. Just want to read this because I got it, so there's that. The only other thing that we'll talk about right now, before we get going on deliberation, is that I got handed a letter from a Greg, maybe you can just say your name. Paladina. And he is an attorney at law at 56 Central Square in Chelmsford, Mass. And it's to the Town of Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals, Town Hall, regarding 441 Main Street, and it says, "Dear members of the board, please be advised that I represent Eric Harper, trustee of Estes Park Trust, owner of the above referenced property. There is currently pending before the board an appeal for special permit dated November 24th, 2014. I don't know that that's it. It's actually, the special permit number is 2014-12. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, I was putting the date on the application, I think is what I'm referring to.
Yes, that's the date on his newest application. But it didn't get heard until January,
Okay,
see?
that's all right. Let me just look at it. Okay, good,
November
okay, all right,
24th,
yep. And my client respectfully requests that this application be withdrawn without prejudice. So, what do you think?
So it's
we
the
need-
whole new application
That
that's
would be,
gone.
that would be application 2014-12. It would be withdrawn.
Interesting.
and that's,
Huh?
that's what we're deliberating on.
Yeah, well, then if the board feels that they want to approve the withdrawal of this, then we'll go to 2014-4, which is the recall of the original permit.
It's this one. I just want to make sure I have the right one that you're talking about. Is that this?
Yes, they want to recall that one.
Yes, the latest one that came in, which is all the notes that I put on the board is referencing 2014-12. I guess this is the type of thing that I would see as, I don't have a problem withdrawing it, but there's some information in that packet that we've seen that can't be taken away, and which is the first one up there, 441 Main Street. That wasn't known to us on the original application, but it is now. So when I'll go up and explain what that is, but I'm not sure that at this late date that I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if he withdraws it, then it can't come back for 2 years, right?
That's right.
Are you aware of that?
Are you aware
I'd
that-
be happy to explain the.
No, are you- I know,
You
I-
want to take more evidence, but.
No, now, are you aware that it can't come back for 2 years? If you withdraw it?
I'd be happy to explain
No,
what our rationale is.
that's, excuse me. Let me see, how would I ask this question?
Come back if it's without prejudice.
What's the other number?
If you withdraw it, you can't come back for 2 years, is that, are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, good,
Okay.
that's okay, fine, that's all,
That's
good,
what we
thank
need.
you.
That's not what I've asked for.
Okay.
It's-
Yeah, it says you want to withdraw it, if you withdraw it, then you're out for 2 years.
On the new
Without-
application?
without-
On a new application,
Without prejudice, though,
You're not reading the whole letter.
yeah,
without prejudice.
yeah, I understand.
If it's without prejudice, then they can be fine.
Think so?
If it's with prejudice, they're barred. That's what without prejudice means.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the only problem I have is that this is sort of lingering, but if that's what they want to do.
I think what I just heard is, he said you didn't read the letter. Why don't you read the letter?
I did.
The last sentence.
I read it.
prejudice, he's saying
Without prejudice. I got without prejudice.
So
was
without,
just-
without,
Just that it wouldn't, we
Tom.
wouldn't hold it against them, but I think if you withdraw it,
If you withdraw without prejudice, you can refile the claim.
right. Without prejudice, he has the option to go ahead and refile the
If
claim.
it's with prejudice, then.
With prejudice, he
he's barred.
can't.
okay.
All right.
So he's asking to deny this tonight, shut it down,
Yeah.
and with prejudice would be, he's forgetting it,
Okay,
so he wants to reopen another one.
Explanation.
yeah,
I
right,
didn't
yeah,
put that
As to
there.
why.
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
a delay tactic? or
yeah,
what is it?
yeah, what's the reason, would you give us a reason?
If you can give me 10 minutes, I can just tell you what's happening.
How about 5? I mean, well, listen, I'm not being facetious, we've been 4 months on this.
Yeah, I'm trying to save
Okay.
you time as
Okay,
far
yeah,
as this
yeah,
evening,
yeah,
what I
okay, yeah.
anticipate would happen.
Yeah,
Again, my name for the record is Greg Halladina. I'm new counsel for SD Realty Trust, Mr. Harper. As we all know, we have a special permit in place that was recorded. That was from earlier in 2014. No. We had building permits issued based upon that approved special permit. There was a hearing before this board on November 15th of 2014 to review that special permit. I did use the term recall. I was at that meeting. I wasn't representing Mr. Harper at that
I'm
point.
distracted. Should we take a recess?
hold on a second. What,
Does he have a technical problem?
Charlie, you get a technical problem?
He doesn't have sound, it's not, there's no sound coming off of him.
There's no sound? Let's take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, pardon me, I was distracted
Yeah,
by the
we want this,
conversation.
we want this recorded, so.
I make a motion
Make a
to take a
motion.
5-minute recess.
Seconded?
Second.
All in favor? Fine.
Aye.
Let's take 5, we want this recorded, okay?
Can you get Chris down here?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Two members meeting in the hall? Three members meeting in the hall, that's interesting. Meeting?
Yeah, it's not so happy.
What's that?
I said it's not so happy, but we're
Oh.
hanging in there.
Okay.
You know, how's everything with the family doing? Yeah, good. How's your son Joe doing?
We turned them off for a reason.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we turned them off.
We're on a break.
We're on a break.
He just came home for Christmas.
Wanna back off?
No.
On or off?
Members meeting in the hall. We're gonna go celebrate. Who's the other one? Kate Francis. I don't know if they're meeting or not.
Yeah, it's so much going on. He had to go to the airport. I said, get to the airport, call me.
Hey, I'm glad you're not on the mic.
It is, it's really scary.
I could ask them to call somebody on the outside.
Where where this whole thing is here, the TV?
I don't know.
It's their life, you know, to get home. She loves it. Mass college friends. No, in the PA program.
Yeah.
Physician's assistant. She loves it. You know, she's a good student, she's not a great student.
Yeah.
But she's got a 4.0, came out starting strong.
Good, good, good. And she, does she live in North
Maybe we can use your sound.
I'm recording it on a tape. This is,
Oh, the one that goes, probably not. Will the selectmen ever sent it to her?
it's a great school. She was gonna go to Northeastern, she didn't get anything. This is they give them personal attention, they work in groups.
That's good to know. Coming here.
Huh?
I said, I'm sure you're sick of coming here.
Oh, it's getting ridiculous.
It's outrageous.
Hello, 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 1, 2, 3.
If we speak up, can you hear us?
But he's not getting the sound, that's what he's saying.
He's gotta get it going. Oh, it's not.
Yeah, it's on that system.
Great, absolutely, and I'm losing weight.
Good for you. What do we do before video? Can we just take minutes? Technology is supposed to make our life easier, so they say.
Just these old legs.
I'm not sure it's true, but. Which one it after? Does he have one?
Mike, you could've eaten supper.
No. I got home late from Boston, and Julie called me. I just got home.
Feel bad, I
rushed
got
down here
home about
without supper, too.
7:45.
It's like, oh, I didn't wanna be late.
Charlie, why don't you just tape it like you old tape ones at conservation? Little tape, little camera thing that you use for conservation, have the piece of that? Just use that.
The camera, the regular camera?
Yeah, just use that and you could run it later.
Yeah, it's working, and the sound levels are good, because Chris can see it from where he is from. But for some reason, she said there's no sound on the television. Right? So he said, just record it the way it is, and then go along.
Edit the sound in or something.
I can hear the sound. That's it. Yeah, I know you need to do this. I can, I can back up the camera. I got the
I think
camera.
I would back it up. I wouldn't.
All right.
That's what I'm saying, just in case, you know. Thank you.
That's all I plan on.
You're gonna get more of it. You're gonna get more of it.
Oh, you have to hold up. If you don't hold up,
Yeah, if you let them.
Well, I'm okay. Charlie, what's happening?
Well, he says everything's all right. I'm gonna go out and get the camera,
Okay,
set that up,
okay,
just as a backup,
gotcha. All right,
so that we know we got it.
okay.
let me see if I can help him right now. And once in a while, nothing special. On Saturday, that lasted like 3 hours. Yeah.
How deep? Should have brought a pot of coffee with me.
We're not gonna be here.
I always stuff with
kind of dog is it?
It's a Sato, Puerto Rican street dog.
Oh, that's it.
How's she doing, the dog?
Hanging in there.
Good. I never wanted a dog, and I'll tell you,
Break
I
your
am
heart.
so attached to her now. It's like having another baby all over again.
It's my first
Oh,
dog.
This is my, yeah, I was gonna say, this is my first dog. I mean, how old are you? My oldest is turning 17 next week.
Oh, my
And, yeah.
Here's the baby. He's wasting away, but I love her.
And, my other one is, she's gonna, she's 15.
The front seat of the truck.
That's adorable.
She's a Sato.
That's adorable.
No bed in the living room.
She sleeps better than you, doesn't she?
Yeah, but I sleep on the couch because she can't make it up the stairs, so I sleep on the couch over here.
Is she older?
4.5. She'll be 13 in May if she gets
Oh,
there.
my word.
That's my dog. He's the badge.
Oh, the dog.
Well, there's a Endicott pocket there right there. Hold the puppy.
She's adorable.
She cute?
We used to have a good friend of mine, she and her husband used to travel quite a bit. So, you do trips too, right?
Yeah, there they are.
Get your hands up.
There's the baby.
My dog likes driving.
Is it a Maltese?
No, it's a Pong Fu.
Oh, it is. It looks like a Maltese.
She's cute. She's a good dog.
She a baby.
Exchanging pictures.
We had a dog like half time because my friends travel all the time. Well, he just passed away.
Kids on the boat.
She's small. She's only like 6 pounds. She's a little tiny thing. She's a good dog.
Fishing.
Who's that? Johnson's Pond?
No, that's up in Maine. Is that Maine? Mount, Long Pond up in Mount Vernon, Maine. They have some land up there we go camping. There's the baby. There's a rainbow.
I noticed most of
See the
your
rainbow?
pictures of dogs, not your kids.
Oh, yeah. People come to my office like, where's your wife? I don't know. What's your point? There's a rainbow. Yeah. Got it, man. Got it, man.
Oh, all right, I stand corrected.
There's some kids.
Look at
That's awesome, huh?
Isn't that unbelievable? He's sleeping and she's on top of him. I gotta put these on my laptop.
Yeah, before you lose the phone
Yeah,
and drop
I
it
mean,
down
I
the
have, I
stairs.
probably have about a year and a half, like last time.
I got
Don't you
some-
have it saved up to the cloud? You can have it back up to the cloud, like Google Drive or something.
Yeah.
We ready to go?
Are we ready, Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. All right. Tom? Yes. Yes, please. On.
Oh, after I gotta show you my kid shooting on the.
So I can vote for both these articles, because there's three seats going.
There you go. Really? When was that?
Couple years ago, I'll show you that after.
Yeah, okay, good. Charlie, we all set now? We got sound back? Okay. Should I tell them first what you said, we talked about?
What do you mean, about?
About stuff,
Well, you can ask them, I think you ought to be on the record.
Yeah, you know, before you speak,
You're gonna open the meeting.
oh, I'm sorry, we got I need a motion
Make a
open?
motion to reopen the zoning board of appeals
Second.
meeting at 8:15.
Okay, second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Let me just tell you something. This board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're all volunteers, okay? We've been 4 months on this, okay, since October. October, November, December, here we are, January, this is the second meeting in January. To have you come in and withdraw the application, it doesn't sit too well, okay? Now, if this is, depending on the reason, if we think this is a stall tactic and not a legitimate reason, then I don't think we're gonna approve this with prejudice. We're gonna say, with prejudice, not without prejudice, so that you can't come back for 2 years, because frankly, we're ready to make decisions on this. We've spent a lot of time on this, and I've spent a lot of time trying to prepare the board to make decisions, and unless there's a legitimate reason that the board doesn't deem to be a stall tactic, without prejudice is not going to fly. So with that in mind, go ahead, tell us.
Yeah, it's not a stall
Yeah.
tactic. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful I can save you time tonight. If you're
Fine.
going to spend a lot of time deliberating, I've been to one prior meeting on this, and it was here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I watched the tape of another meeting, you were here
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
That's
I
right.
don't want to keep you here for 3 hours, if in fact, we can just withdraw this without prejudice, and I can explain my reasoning.
Okay, go ahead.
As I said, we have a special permit in place, that's the 2014-4, and that one was approved, no appeal was taken, it was recorded. Mr. Harper obtained a building permit, building inspector issued it to do work based on that special permit. Now, because of some complaints, as you recall, there was a meeting on November 5th of 2014, and that meeting was noticed to review the special permit. I attended that meeting, although I was not participating, but I did see that the fire chief, as you recall, testified of some concerns he had. There were questions on tenant uses from the board, and there were some neighbor concerns, principally Mrs. LaFrance. In a good faith effort to address those issues, Mr. Harper has done a few things. He's filed for site plan review from the planning board. He has contacted the Conservation Commission, and he is filing a notice of intent, and as you've heard this evening that Mr. Wakefield just read, he's in full compliance as far as Conservation Commission is concerned. And he also filed an application for a new special permit with you, and that's the one, 2014-12, that I'm asking for, that it be withdrawn without prejudice. Mr. Harper's position is he's been respectful of your process, and he does feel that he's been ridiculed and insulted publicly in this process, listening to some of what the neighbors have said and what, frankly, the board members have said. And at this point, the new special permit conditions that are being discussed appear to him to be way beyond what the existing special permit that is in place provides. And the problem here, and I'm trying to be practical, the neighbors have counsel. They've hired an attorney. If a special permit is issued, they'll appeal. They just filed a memo saying they don't want any new special permit. In fact, they want the existing special permit recalled. So the town's going to face litigation if you issue a special permit in an attempt to negotiate something that you were deliberating tonight. And if you recall the existing special permit, quite frankly, there's going to be an appeal from our end. And you also have some innocent parties, some tenants who are at the property. You're going to disrupt several businesses if you take that extreme action of recalling the existing special permit. What I'm
Excuse me,
suggesting-
could you repeat that?
There will be some third parties, tenants at the property, whose
Yep.
businesses may be disrupted if
Yep.
a special permit that's in place is recalled.
Yeah, okay.
I'm hopeful we can solve this issue without court litigation and work within the existing special permit, trying to pose a practical solution. Currently, there were fire department concerns. A letter has been sent from AON fire engineers to the fire chief, addressing in detail the concerns that were set forth by the fire chief. I believe those have been resolved. I haven't heard anything further from the fire chief. There has been no enforcement action from the building inspector, and he is, after all, the zoning enforcement officer under our zoning bylaw. And at the meeting back in November, you did hear some conflicting evidence on neighbor issues regarding lighting. You also had some discussions concerning uses on the property. I mean, I've looked into it, 110 towing, I know there was some question, where were they located? Same thing with B&B fire protection. I've checked in the business certificates for the city of Haverhill, and 110 towing is registered there. B&B fire protection is registered.
Hold on, let me just, excuse me, on 110, okay?
Yes.
I don't want you to embarrass yourself, because I happen to have, right off the internet, I have their address.
Okay, I have a business certificate that they filed.
Well, I have the address taken about 1 o'clock this morning off the internet, and the address for B&B is 441 Main Street.
B&B?
B&B.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about 110.
No, B&B. I know where 110 is, but B&B, you just said B&B is registered in Haverhill.
I think he was talking about 110.
No,
I think you
you-
guys
no.
were mixed up.
No, you also mentioned B&B.
I mentioned both.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you did,
They're
yeah,
registered in
yeah.
Haverhill too?
But-
That's what I
Yeah,
was...
what I'm saying to you is that here it is right here, for the record. right here. And I'll show you so that you don't think I'm... This was taken last evening, or this morning, at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd like you to read for the record what that address is right there.
And if you'd read for the
No,
record.
no, I asked you a question. I'd like you to read that right there, please.
If you'll allow me to submit the
No,
document that I'm
would you let me-
referring to,
Would you please do what I asked you, please?
if you'll do what I'm asking, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll do it. I'll read it. Let the record show that B&B Fire Protection is located at 441 Main Street, Grover, Massachusetts, with a telephone number 978-478-6119. Okay, this is dated, today's date, which is the 21st of January, 2015. What's the date of yours?
It's the last annual report filed with the Massachusetts Secretary of State
What's the date?
for the year ending December 31st, 2013. It was filed on March 12th of 2014.
Okay.
I'm referring to an official public record. I don't know
I'm
what you're
telling you
referring to,
that
Mr. Chairman.
I've got an address that they're using online today.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're referring to online, but in
Well,
any event,
I typed in B&B Fire Protection, and this is what came up. And I've done a site visit, and I know personally what's there.
well, in light of this conflicting evidence, let me suggest, if,
Well, see...
has there been a full site visit by the ZBA?
Yeah, no, wait, hold
I
on,
mean,
hold
I'm
on, hold on. See, in my mind, it's not conflicting. Just in your mind, I'm telling you it's there. It's not conflicting.
Yeah, I'm just going by official records.
No, I'm telling you, I've seen it, and documentation says it's there. Okay, the paperwork, it was filed last year. This is current. That business is there.
Is that for the 2013 year?
Yeah, that's not...
Right, so it was filed in March,
they could
and
have
which
moved
the
after
property
that?
wasn't even
Well, they
started
would
by
have to
then.
file a change of address. This is the annual report I was referring to.
Well, there's many people that move and don't do the paperwork until they're...
Right, 'cause it's due April
yeah,
15th,
It was
or
brought to
April
their
1st.
attention, but I just don't want you to go any further with this, that they're not there, because I happen to know they're there.
I'm not saying they're not there.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
I'm saying their official address registered with the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yeah, but...
The last filing I saw was,
Yeah, I know, but
Different
they're
address.
operating at that business location.
well, you're going by something on the internet. I guess what I'm suggesting is, with respect to the issue of the first permit and what's happening at the premises, if there has been a site visit if there hasn't been a site visit by the full ZBA, we'd be happy to provide you access. You could take a look at it. The other thing we'd offer to suggest is, if you want some independent observer to check on the property, do spot checks, see what's going on, not just looking at the internet or arguing when something was filed. Have someone go out there and see what's happening, either the full board on one occasion, and in addition, if you want, you can retain an independent observer, spend 90 days going out there, doing spot checks, seeing what's happening. Mr. Harper will pay for it, no expense to the town. The point I'm making is, rather than go forward with this special permit, the new one, we can work within the confines of the existing special permit, and if you want, you can see what's happening, either a site visit, or if Mr. Harper pays for someone to be an inspector and go out and report back to you. As long as it's an independent person, he can tell you what's happening out there. We believe we're acting within the confines of the original special permit.
Then in that case, I would recommend to the board that we accept your letter of withdrawal with prejudice, that there's no reason to assume that you'd have to come back if you think that you're working within the parameters of your first permit 2014-4. If you think you're working with that within the parameters, there would be no need to do this. So I would recommend to the board that we accept this with prejudice. I need a second to have a discussion.
Second.
Second. Okay, now, let's discuss this. If Mr. Harper thinks that his first application, that he's within the parameters approved, then I don't think there's any reason to leave this on the table to come back later on. We spent 4 months ping-ponging back and forth here, and I mean, I'm not sure that you was at the first meeting, but at the first meeting, for the record, and for your edification, we had Mr. Harper right there with all the leases in his hand. He had leases in his hand and could not tell this board who was in the buildings.
Can I ask a question on it?
Go ahead.
Is it your position that the new application is moot because you're within the parameters, so you don't need an expansion or a clarification? I'm still,
Two things. We believe
Yeah,
we are in
articulate that.
compliance, but second, we're trying to be practical here. If you issue some sort of a revised special permit, that opens the door for an appeal from the abutters. They've retained counsel. You're gonna face an appeal. The town's gonna have costs. If you vote to do the extreme measure of recalling, rather than trying to work with us, you're gonna have litigation on this side. Either way, the town's gonna be paying. What I'm trying to propose as a practical solution is to work within the confines of the existing special permit that this board approved, was recorded with the Registry of Deeds. I'm offering some suggestions at no cost to the town.
Well, you know,
Have someone
let's
inspect
go
it and
back,
report to
because you're talking about a recording.
so you won't need to refile within 2 years?
There wasn't, part of that, the process of recording in the registry was a plan that wasn't accepted for recording, so there's not a full recording of what we approved. Okay?
There need to be some corrections. The
Yeah.
plan was,
Yeah, we can- again,
defective.
But,
That would-
and.
Does that rise to the level of recalling the entire special permit because
Well, it
the
might.
plan isn't recorded? And we're happy to,
Yeah, it
again,
very well might.
being practical.
Well,
We can
you-
certainly
you know,
record that at this point.
It very well might require a full recall of the permit, okay? Because the board's perception of what's happened and yours are totally different, okay? You know, I've been ridiculed for last meeting for using the word amnesia, okay? But let me tell you, I wish we had the same type of cooperation that Mike Dempsey and the Conservation Board has. We have not experienced that type of cooperation on the Zoning Board of Appeals. To get answers from Eric Harper is like pulling nails or pulling teeth. And to get a straight answer, it's even harder, okay? So, you know, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not in agreement of this without prejudice. Either we talk about it, or we do it with prejudice. That's my point, and we're in discussion. You got any more questions?
I just want to clarify, is it moot because it's an overlap? Is that what you're saying?
Again, yes, and I'm trying to be practical as well.
All right.
You're gonna get an appeal from the neighbors if you issue a special permit. If you deny it and recall it, you're gonna get an appeal from us.
It's moot.
I'm trying to be
If
practical.
it's moot, then we dismiss it and with prejudice, and we just look at the existing permit as
That's
it
right.
is and
Yeah.
what deficiencies, if any, that need to be cured or they
That's right.
can't be cured, or we look
And
at
I'm
those
already
as-
offering a cure and suggesting what we can
So,
do.
Does this mean rehashing everything that we've done the last 3 months on the
No.
first permit, or?
Well, we'll take care of it. No, it's not rehashing, but it's a different approach, but I'm prepared for that as well. I came prepared for that, to discuss that tonight as well. So I think that we should accept the withdrawal with prejudice. That's a motion. Any more discussion? All those in favor? With prejudice?
Aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous. We accepted it with prejudice. I'm gonna cross that out. I'm gonna cross it out with,
You can leave that, just note it for the record, that's his original.
okay, on the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
With prejudice.
This one is out.
All right, let me get the, okay. I'm gonna go up to the board because I just wanna show everyone what happened.
what I
You gotta
think.
drink your water.
It's,
Can you hear that, Charlie, all right?
refill.
Can I clarify that with him?
You didn't spin it.
No, I
He
didn't.
said that he's not really rehashing,
But I
that he's
figured
not
I'd
really
warn you.
rehashing everything.
Yeah.
Like, but we should ask him to clarify what he's doing. We talking about the whole thing? Yeah, Chair.
Mm-mm.
No?
Just do what he's gonna do.
Now, the permit that was issued in 2000, 2014-4. That was issued with the provisions that Mr. Harper was going to operate, he was gonna operate storage of construction type materials, and he used illustrations of contractors storing their ladders and their trucks, et cetera. And the application that was submitted with the drawing and subsequent pictures that we obtained, there was no building, which is now building, I think, 105.
Is that the same building that's been referred to as Building C
Yes.
previously? Okay.
Building C was not on the original application, and that showed up at a later date, and it also showed up closer to the property line than the current law, or current regulations allow. Now, just for historical purpose, the issue that we have before us right now, since 2014-12 has been withdrawn with prejudice, is the 2014-4, which is Eric Harper's recall of special permit at the former Estes lumberyard. And just so that we have it clarified, so there's no question as to the use. Under non-conforming use, I just want to make sure that there's no disagreement as to the use. The abandonment of non-conforming use results from the occurrence of two factors. Number one, the intent to abandon, and number two, the voluntary conduct that carries the implication of abandonment. And that was referenced under Pioneer Insulation and Modernization Corp. Versus Lynn, 331 Mass. 560, 1954. And both of those must apply. And the business was closed in 2009, but if you look at the affidavit, and this is the type of thing that once the jury hears evidence, it's hard to not utilize that evidence. And the affidavit of Mr. Howard Estes talked about marketing the property. So I don't think that the Zoning Board of Appeals ever had an issue with reusing the property. However, in the process of reusing it, the board had to take into consideration, and did take into consideration, section 106 of non-conforming non-conforming uses in the town of Groveland zoning bylaws. And 106.21 states, and I quote, "Pre-existing non-conforming structures and/or uses may be extended or altered, provided that no such extension or alteration shall be permitted unless there is finding by the permit granting authority as defined by these bylaws as having jurisdiction over such structures and/or uses, as such change, extension, or alteration shall not be subsequently more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use in the neighborhood." So that was the criteria that we used. And based on that criteria, this here, by virtue of the affidavit, is the for lack of a better word, I'll use the word that Tim Freer used, this is the matrix for which all uses down there will go forth. And in fact, in the minutes, Mr. Harper stated that that he would be utilizing it for just cold storage of these contractor uses. Well, when we got the letter from the fire chief, and we started to do some research, lo and behold, we find several businesses in there. In fact, I'll go down the list. This is a list which was taken, and I'm not sure how accurate this is, but this was taken off the list provided by us, by Mr. Harper, his engineer, and I'm not sure the date of it, but right here, the date was 11/15/14. This is the list of and I'll go right down the list of the buildings. B101 was listed as vacant. B102 is listed as empty, business, associates, equipment, and tools. B103 is the B&B sprinkler storage. B104-A is vacant. B104-B is vacant. B104C, Craig Callisto, storage of auto, washer, fluids, etc. B104D is Newell Farm Builders, storage builders material. B104E is vacant. B104F is vacant. B105 is the building that was built too close to the property line. And there is provisions in 40A which states that let's see if I can find it here quickly. It states that Is it 40A now? Sorry, I don't have it real quickly here, but it states that the Board of Appeals has the authority to change the use, but it doesn't have the authority to change any setback requirements. Right here, here it is, Chapter 48, Section 4, Roman numeral 4, Section 6, and this is under the review and findings. It says, the zoning bylaws are authorized by the Board of Appeals to grant a special permit allowing an extension to non-conforming structure if such extension would be, in quote, in harmony with the general purposes and intent, unquote, in the ordinance. This language does not authorize the board to grant a special permit allowing an extension which would violate existing setback requirements. And this is under case law, Rona versus Board of Appeals in Pittsfield, 338 Mass 87, 1958. So the building that was built, that was not on the plan submitted to us, was built 10 feet one end and 11 feet on the other end. So that particular building has to come in compliance with current 15-foot setback requirements. And if you look at the, if you look at, let's see, I left off at 105, I believe it was. B106A is AJ Iscara Landscaping, and then B is Ryan Miller Storage of Landscape Equipment. B106C is AJ Iscara Landscaping. B107A, Neil Clancy Stoneworks Storage. B107B, Truly Green Lawns. And I did not personally go in that particular building that day, but I was on the site when the fire chief went in, and that building has been sheetrock and 2 desks set up for offices for the business. So, and there was 2 trucks from Truly Lawn located there, so that particular business, I'll let the board decide, but it appears that it doesn't fall in the parameters of equal to or less than. And then you have B108, Peter Noyes, boat storage. Now, I'm probably the biggest boat fan in the world. The first word out of my mouth as an infant was boats. My father was a lobster fisherman, and I've loved boats all my life, and in fact, I just built one. But I find it hard to believe that in this particular lumber yard, Estes lumber yard, that they ever had boats stored out there. And that wasn't what was presented to the board on the first occasion, which the board relied on to issue the first special permit, outside storage of boats. And B109A is a Robert T. LeBlanc electrical contract business. And he spoke at one of the meetings set up back here, and it appeared from his speaking was that he's running his operation down there. And here again, I don't see where there are any businesses beyond the front office that was operating behind the gate. In B109B, Baldini Chase HVAC contract business. And I don't know whether they're operating or not, but that says a contract business, so I'm assuming that they're operating under there. I don't know for sure, but B109C is Rick Greenwood Vehicles, Boats, and Furniture Storage. And I see a sawmill operation. I see sheetrock stored and sold, plywood stored and sold, a planer mill. They maintain their fleet of trucks, that would be in Estes lumber, and they maintain the sawmill equipment and their planer equipment. But I don't see where they had boats and vehicles stored. B109D is vacant. B109E is vacant. B110. B110 is actually 110 towing. And the day I went in there, I saw a lift inside with cars on the lift. Now, I don't see anywhere here where there was a tow company operating out of that business location in back. That was not what was presented to the board. That's not what is there now. And I fail to see where it is relative to the matrix that we're going to rely on. B109D is vacant, B109E is vacant, and keep in mind, these are as of 11/5, so I'm not sure if this is as accurate as I had. Then you got ARE Auto Vehicle Storage. Well, here again, they had sheetrock, they had plywood, they had planer mill, sawmill operation. They didn't have any storage of vehicles. Then in B112 is Estes Business Associate Storage, personal use. And then B113A is various individuals, boat and auto storage. Same thing, boat and auto storage. This wasn't what was told to the board was told it was gonna be contractor issues. And then B 113B is vacant, B 113C is vacant, B 114 is back river development, and it's storage of construction equipment and a vehicle. And I'm not sure if that's running an operation there or not. And then you have, in B 114, geez, I didn't get that number. I'm sorry, I didn't get that number. But that's the B&B Sprinkler Business Office, which I saw evidence of an office being run there. So that's where we're at, board, and I think that what we need to do is revisit the application. Is he in compliance with what we approved? Do we recall the permit? I think not, and here's why. There are provisions in the Mass General Law that gives the Zoning Board of Appeals the power on an appeal of our special permit to have the same powers as the, let's see, in exercising the power granted by this section, the Board of Appeals, in conformity with provisions of this chapter, make orders or decisions, reverse, affirm, in whole or part, or modify any order or decision, and to that end shall have all powers of the officer for which the appeal is taken, and may issue or direct the issuance of a permit. And this is under Mass General Law, Part A, Administration of Government, Title 7, Cities, Towns, Chapter 40A, Zoning, Section 14, Board of Appeals, powers. The board has the power to issue cease and desist orders, which I think is a better approach on if they feel that any of these items don't meet what we originally approved, we could issue cease and desist orders, and they would be subject to a fine of $300 a day if that cease and desist order wasn't adhered to. And so I think a better approach for the board would be that versus the recall, even though we could do recalls on special parts of it. And we also have the authority to make decisions and to change a few things. And I think everyone on the board's agreement that anyone in there has got to come back to the board. Go ahead.
In our evidence from the cases beforehand,
Yeah.
we have heard much from the neighbors. And as we deliberate,
Yeah.
and as we deliberate on
I
this board,
got that.
equal, less than, or more detrimental.
Yeah.
Let's talk noise. One of the neighbors' problems was noise.
Yeah.
One of the neighbors' problems was lights.
Yeah.
Ours.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because
so what I'm saying is, let's just go through a list and see what noise, what was the
Yeah,
noise you see going on in there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Let me come back, sit down. Let me just go one more thing. And the other thing that we weren't aware of at the time of the meeting, but we are now because of the affidavit, is that the hours of operation was 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 7 to 4 on Saturdays, and it was closed and then they changed the 7 to 4 to 7 to 1 on Saturdays, and then they were closed on Sundays. And the other issue, which is the neighbors have an issue, is that according to the affidavit by Howard Estes, there was 4 lights, area lights only, 4. I don't know how many is there, but I think that wasn't information that we had. So I think any discussion we have now when I sat down should be based on this matrix of what was there. Now we know what was there, and we can amend that permit, special permit that we granted. And I think that we should utilize the cease and desist versus recall, but if the board wants to recall, I'm fine with that as well. I'm going to come back and we'll have discussions. Thank you. Go ahead. You guys, stop.
On, off, like Simon says.
So go ahead.
All right, well, to carry on what I just said a minute ago was, I believe we need to find out, as far as the neighbors go, the noise that was there and the noise that's gonna potentially be there now. So what was the worst-case scenario then, and what's the worst-case scenario now? Maybe we can't figure that out because it's not completely leased.
That's why the backup camera is there, so they can edit it in afterwards.
Oh, I see, oh,
There's
oh,
complaints coming for the empty market and stuff, so.
Oh, okay.
That's all, but if you have the backup
Can-
recording, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, so they can feed it in after.
I'm trying to
and fix-
talk loud enough to, yeah. Okay, okay, good, yep, thank you, though.
There'll be a rerun later.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so,
Go ahead, Bill,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
What?
We were talking, you were,
So, well, the way I look at it is, if I look at that list that Tom just put out, Chairman just put out, there was a sawmill operation down there. How noisy was the sawmill operation, and how noisy will be what's potentially, I think we're talking storage right now, and we're potentially talking letting some businesses go in there. So can we find and deal with the noise right now? That's how I feel.
well,
Let's take that.
yeah, but you know something, you hit on something, and let me go one more thing. There's one more thing that we gotta go over, even though it's up there. Because you're talking about businesses. Now, if you look, well, actually, we got two things, because the number of square foot that got approved on that application was 57,600, something like that.
57,080, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. So that, based on that information, currently, there's a lot more on the permit that was just withdrawn. We know there's more down there, so we have to discuss the square foot. The uses that are allowed down there, I mean, as Bill said, how do we handle businesses beyond the gate? There's 38 rental units down here. Does that mean that Mr. Harper has the authority to put 38 businesses there with 38 cars coming and parking there every day? Maybe 76 cars there, if they have two employees, coming at 8 in the morning and leaving at 5 in the afternoon. Is that something that falls within this over here? And then, by the building setback, if it's here, talk about that. So I think the thing that we have to talk about is the 38 rental units, you know, and is there gonna be businesses allowed beyond the gate, which there never was before? That's not what was told to us at the initial meeting, which we granted the permit on. There was no discussion of any businesses operating beyond the gate, so, go ahead, Bill, thank you, that was,
I lost my train of thought.
maybe we'll come back.
What I was trying to get at, and how noisy was the mill, which we don't know, and how noisy could the project be? That's all I'm asking the board. So if you're putting someone in there that, let's say he's a painter, or he's an electrician, or he's storing equipment, or he's storing ladders, will that be more noisy than a mill or a hammer mill or a planer mill? That's, and I understand what you're saying, there could be 38 businesses running in there all at one time, which they wouldn't all be leaving at one time, but still, I think we need to take a good hard look at noise, and that's.
I think if you look at that compared to what Estes was before, you would have that many cars going in and out of there daily anyways.
Right, because you had people
20
going
years
back
ago.
there, you had people
Right,
going
so
back there
that-
getting lumber and getting stuff back there.
I think that falls under equal.
Okay, that's all I
right? So
asked.
yeah,
So
for me,
let's
that
just drop-
falls under equal.
Can we just go up at drop someplace equal?
No, that's all right, I'm gonna write it down. What do you think is equal?
I think the volume,
The
the way you
volume of
said
noise, what we're
38,
saying is gonna be equal.
Well,
Am I
now,
correct?
let's just go through the list of businesses there.
Wait a minute, no,
Because that's what it is.
well, I understand, but maybe that's what we gotta talk about first, instead of going through the list of businesses again.
No, what's equal?
when you said that there were possibly 38
Yeah.
different companies back there,
You think that's equal?
Well, and-
say 2 cars per company,
Yeah.
I think that's equal to what Estes was prior to, with the number of people going back there getting supplies and the operations going there.
Okay, they were parked there all day?
well, there were people in and out of
There
the
were people
retail
in and
store
out of there,
all
it was probably
day.
more than
Okay, you
70.
think they're, okay.
So
And
I,
getting
for me,
lumber.
that constitutes being equal to.
Good, all right. All right, what else you got, Bill?
So we've said that's equal. Am I correct?
Or less.
That's a suggestion, but
Okay, so
Consensus of the
the
board.
number of cars coming in there, you think are equal?
No, I didn't ask that. I asked the
The
noise.
noise of them, yeah, okay.
The noise of a mill.
Yeah.
And the noise, what could happen there
The cars.
potentially when this project is put together.
Yeah. Okay,
Right. There was an affidavit here.
what else you
that-
got?
That Mr. Estes said that it could be heard on Uptack Road and Cannon Hill Extension and blah, blah, blah. My
Yeah.
point being is, I think we need to discuss this project, is it gonna be more noisy, equal, or more detrimental to what's going on? It's simple as that. The board needs to get a consensus, would this project be what was there, how noisy it was, and today, when it's all done, would it be equal, more, or less than detrimental?
Well,
And you're
I-
saying it depends on what's in there.
well,
Yeah.
this is where I'm
Right.
going with this, is
Yeah, one at a
because
time.
the 38 units behind, okay? If those are truly storage, which is what is in the original application,
That's what I'm
then I
asking.
don't think that the noise would expand.
talking about that
But if there's any
application.
business back there, then it may, yes.
So
If you
I'm-
get 38
I'm asking the
altogether.
questions pertaining to and sticking to the application in
If we're
front of me
sticking
right
to the
now.
application, which is 38 units behind,
Storage.
only storage.
Did that
cold
application
storage.
that we're reviewing right now say there's gonna be 38 businesses behind there? I think
No.
what we needed to,
No, there's 38
No,
buildings.
let me, for the record,
38 units.
hold on just a second, guys. Let me, for the record, I'm reading out of the minutes, and the minute says, Wakefield read the legal notice for application 2014-4 for Eric Harper, 441 Main Street. He would like to use the area as a storage facility for small business to store their equipment for their small businesses. The maximum square footage of a building area is 57,666 as of March 5th, 2014. There is one building, in parentheses, A, which he will reestablish rental former Estes lumber store for retail or office use. Wakefield asked if the existing buildings will be rented to different people. Harper replied, yes, some people need storage.
Right, so I think that we need
So
to
is it
figure
all
out,
businesses
Wait a
or
minute.
construction-related
Well, wait, yes.
businesses?
Harper said that the area will be gated, controlled access. I have to say on what goes in and out of there.
Chair.
Harper said he will supervise what goes in and out, and what is going out. Let's see.
Chair,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna say
Go ahead.
that this attorney right here just told us there might be litigation on his half of Mr. Harper.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's another attorney here that's gonna have litigation on the neighbors.
Yeah,
How I'm looking at this
yeah.
is if we don't go to that chalkboard and say exactly what that permit that we gave out
Uh-huh.
on the first permit we're talking about,
Yeah,
list what was on that permit and
Yeah.
stick to it, we're gonna be in litigation.
Well, no.
That's how
no,
I look at it.
No, because there's a provision, see, you missed it. I read that provision, right, that gives the board.
I understand, but I'm
Okay,
saying if you're gonna
right here.
deliberate, let's deliberate on the subject and stay with the subject,
That's
that's all
right,
I'm
that's
saying.
right. So let me read the conditions of approval.
Did it state what type of businesses?
I'm gonna read it right now.
They've changed it, so we need to stick with what we're talking on hand.
Well, you
And
see,
we're gonna have to build off of that.
let me read the granted a special permit. This is March 5th, 2014. The hours of operation that we granted at that time was 7 to 7, 6 days a week. Maximum number of employees, okay, is 3.
yeah.
I mean, I found 4 or 5 trucks down there when I went in there, so I don't know, they're certainly
He-
far away from the.
How I took that
Yeah.
was that there would be 3 employees by the trust,
Eight.
not 3 employees in the whole place.
Well, but
I
see-
knew there were gonna be more than 3 people there.
Agents of Eric.
Right.
And his entity.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
that's what I
entity.
took that
Okay,
as. Did
all right.
anybody else?
Okay.
Right?
I agree with
Not,
that.
not,
Okay.
not the
I never
customers.
thought that there were
Not the
only
lessees.
Yeah,
people on the
the-
property.
The existing, current, well, but here again, this was gonna be dry storage, so that, I took it the other way, because if there was dry storage, there wouldn't be any need for employees beyond the gate.
The lessor would have no more than 3 employees. The lessee wasn't limited. We didn't limit the number of lessees.
Correct.
Yeah, but on the premises, working on the premises?
We didn't.
Well, working, that's
yeah,
different. That's a different
okay,
issue, which I think we
okay.
gotta deal with first
Okay.
before we can deal with the rest of this.
All right, okay. Current sign within the business, plenty of parking, material deliveries by pickup trucks, lighting, existing lighting, cut-off luminaire. Now, we were privy to that affidavit from Mr. Estes, Howard Estes, which said there's 4 lights, and I'm not sure what's down there. I know that in November, I asked Mr. Harper to check with Groveland light to see what was there, and to date, we haven't received any information as to what they.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
the
no.
point is that there were 4 lights, there should be
Yeah,
4 lights
That's right,
now.
that's right. Yeah, I think there's more, but,
But that's my opinion.
yeah, okay, no,
But-
that's
they
what we
made
want.
me
But Kathy, can I just say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And I'm only, I probably shouldn't be here because I'm stuck between the town and me. I probably should walk home, but I look at it, we have to protect all parties involved. And I look at it that we have to protect and go back to exactly what we talked about.
Right.
And then rebuild that if we're gonna rebuild it. Or like Tom said a minute ago, are you gonna deny, are you gonna, the other word that he put in.
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist.
I mean, I don't think we should be letting this other one or anything else confuse us. We have to stick to what's on the paper. That's all I'm
Well,
asking.
the new permit was withdrawn.
Right, so we shouldn't be even going to any of the categories of that,
But
period.
there's some things that we can't unknow.
I think there's
I
a,
understand
I
what you're
think,
saying, so we have to work
Hold
it.
on, Bill, go ahead.
I think there's an ambiguity. I think there's the issue is, we're talking about employees. There's no limitation under the permit as to the amount of customers. And typically, special permits do not limit the amount of customers and the amount of foot traffic and the amount of people using the service. You permit the use under the special permit, and you hope that the business is flourishing, whether, you hope they have more than one customer or they're not gonna be there as public policy. It's possible they could have a line down the street and, if they're successful. So, I think that's our issue here is, we were silent on the issue of how many businesses could operate within there. And some argue that you can't have operations of business, or the extent to which you can have businesses, and storage. So, and I've said it before, if a business uses that facility for storage, the storage, I mean, it doesn't operate in a vacuum, but for people coming and going, working fork trucks, loading and unloading trucks, the storage doesn't happen by itself. So, but for people, that storage, you need people. So, we've talked about it. Can you have other infrastructure within the businesses that use that for storage? And I've heard some people say you can't have office located within the garages or maybe bathrooms and break rooms. So is it just going to be cold storage as we've discussed? And how many people, whatever amount of people it takes to run, the storage facility, I mean, I think it goes without saying, it should be allowed. I mean, if you have a warehouse with 20,000 square feet and you need 3 guys to run forklifts all day to load and unload, it seems to me that's what you.
Well, you're 100% right, but.
The demand.
But Estes didn't have 38 buildings out back that had 38 employees.
No, but they had 65 employees.
Well, 60, yeah, listen, it's been closed since 2009.
But they had.
Oh, I understand that, but
And they
we're
didn't-
talking
they
about
didn't-
what they had.
They didn't
so
have, they didn't have 65.
either in or out.
Yeah, but they didn't have 65 employees.
In 2009, no, but they
not
have.
even, not even in 2008, 2002, they didn't have that kind of.
But
At the peak, back with the building rush, they might have had that kind of money, but
I understand, but there's no way that you can control how many employees he has coming and going of the storage
No,
people that
I
are there.
understand. No.
Is that what you're after?
Yeah, no, I'm after, from the gate back, how many other businesses back there?
Well, I think
that
that's
has
something that we
employees.
should talk about,
Yeah,
because that's the
that has
biggest issue.
employees.
And until we work that out, I don't think the rest of this is gonna, the rest of it will fall into place,
Okay.
but to debate it
Hold on,
without that.
Okay, Jane, you haven't made any comments. What have you, what's your thought?
Would you
on
get
it?
sick of hearing me
Yeah,
talk?
yeah, it's us.
Be
No,
careful.
I
Put your
I
mouth
think
shut.
that we need to go through the approval and just address each issue
Yep.
as, at a time.
Yep.
So, we keep going around and around about the number of employees.
Yeah.
Well, I think the time for discussion about the number of employees, we discussed it, we voted on it.
Yep.
We gave them a chance to say, he could have said, I want to have 175,000 employees.
Exactly.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it was approved for 3 employees.
That's right.
For the trust.
That's it, correct.
Yeah.
That's done. We need to move on to the next piece.
Okay.
If we're looking at how many physical bodies are out there on a daily basis, we need to define what those bodies
Should
are
be doing.
doing
Yeah.
out there.
Good. I agree.
That's it.
Right, which is kind of what I just
Right.
was saying, yeah.
But
Okay.
I think we're
To go back
confusing
what I
the
just said, we
employee.
should
but-
stick
Wait a minute,
to-
wait a minute, 1 second. I don't
Hold on,
talk
yeah,
too
hold
much.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let her talk.
I know, she never talks.
Yeah, we want to talk. You talk. You're doing a good job. Mike's next. You're on the hot seat next.
I think we're confusing when we're saying, talking about employees, we have to, we have to say, we're talking about the 3 employees that were approved
That's right.
for the business that was brought before us.
Correct.
The second piece to that, which is completely separate from his 3 employees,
Yeah.
are, okay, these 38 businesses now behind the fence,
Units.
units.
Yeah.
Are there employees in those units?
That's right. That's right.
Because
Right.
those units
Because that-
were
that wasn't
brought,
the-
Those would
See,
be
that-
those
that
units were
wa-
brought to us.
It was brought to us that there was going to be cold storage. There was
Correct.
never discussed any,
Correct.
Mike was.
I'm not an expert on cold storage.
But it's-
However,
but-
I don't
wait,
believe that
hold
if
on,
you
Mike's-
open a
Mike
cold
isn't-
storage building,
Yeah.
that you should see employees in with whatever's being stored.
But the employees have to go
employees
back.
are
I
warm.
understand that.
But the employees
I
have to go
understand
back and
that.
use the
I
cold
understand that, but
storage.
that's a whole separate issue.
How do you stack the pallets, with robots? I mean, seriously.
No, this is, I think I understand what you're saying, because of the 38 units, if,
Doesn't make
let's
any
say
sense.
each of the units wanted to run their business out of there, well, those should come to the ZBA at that point, and then we would talk about, okay, how many employees are you gonna
Correct.
have for each application? However, if it's gonna be cold storage, meaning cold, like employees are warm, okay, they're very warm, so they're not cold. However, you, like Dan says, you need to have people who can bring the stuff in, and, contractors need to come in, get their ladders, they need to leave with their they are technically employees of the businesses that are renting the storage unit.
The customers.
But for us to count that, I think is absurd.
No.
We don't need
I'm
to.
not
Not.
talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
talking about the person who's
All right.
actually answering the phone saying,
Right,
true
I understand what you're
true
saying. That's why
lawn,
I'm saying we have
this
to
is
figure
our
out
new-
what's gonna go on
yeah, this is-
behind the
This
fence.
is our location. We talked about the front building, and the front building was administrative space, office space, and we talked about it that night, in
Mm-hmm.
the minutes. It talks about, it was gonna use it for office space.
I understand, but what we were
But
talking
all
about
of
was
a sudden-
behind the fence.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
We
but all
could
of a sudden.
save that for after.
No, but no, no, what I'm saying, what happened was that what we talked about allowing out front of the gate became used out back.
I understand what you're saying.
So
That's
that's what we
have to
gotta,
address.
address.
I think there were employees in each of those buildings. Years ago when they were open, I
I don't know.
I went there and bought
Of
some
course there were
things.
employees there.
And I went there and bought some molding,
Whose
colonial
employees were they?
colonial molding. They were Estes.
Yeah, okay.
And
Well,
so you go, I went into the building on the left, I forget which building it was, and
We're talking,
I
we're
need
talking
X amount.
potentially 38 businesses.
But there's an
that-
employee there to wait on you.
I understand that, but Estes had their office out front, and these were employees of Estes. And they're talking about having 38 businesses behind. I mean, it looks to me, and.
If it's just for storage, I think they could have employees to
I
facilitate
understand.
the storage
I
operations.
agree with you,
If-
but
if
it isn't
they're
just for storage.
if-
They're
if-
actually operating
if-
with desks, telephones. That's their principal business operation behind the gate. And I'm saying that there was never any businesses, separate businesses. We could have potentially 10, 15, 20 businesses operating, like a business park, which I think far exceeds equal to or less than, under 106.1.
If-
I don't think we can have.
It's a matter of degree.
Well,
I mean,
well,
they
yeah,
had
it is.
66 employees at that point, at one point in time.
Yeah, but they were employees that were delivering goods, that were.
They were running around moving materials.
Yeah.
Right, which
But-
is
but
what
they-
the contractors are doing now.
Yeah, but they were
Running around
all,
moving
they were all
materials.
employees of ST Lumber.
I don't see the distinction. I went and looked for some case law
How did we
on
write
that.
the-
I couldn't find any that said
How do we
that
write
you-
the decision up? That's
Well,
all I'm
well,
saying,
well,
that's all, I mean, that's what we have to go, we have to keep
Right.
going back to
Well-
what we wrote the decision up for
Well,
and
I mean,
stick to that.
there's
So,
another.
we deny?
I haven't gotten down here, there's another real big problem. Because in the decision that we gave him 57,660 square feet of building space. And he's certainly well over that.
What does it say about
Can I
businesses,
just-
the units in the back?
No, we didn't discuss it because he said it was from storage.
I think we
Okay,
could look.
but that, then it was in his application that
the
said that.
businesses.
That's why I'm.
The
The application says,
here.
the property is to become the location of Estes Business Park Association to be managed and owned by the applicant and utilized for small business support storage.
That's correct, storage,
Storage,
Right.
not small businesses.
that's right,
It's
storage.
support storage. So,
Yeah.
based on that, we issued the permit based on the application,
That's correct.
Okay,
right?
Kathy?
was presented to
Kathy,
us.
hold on, stop right there.
No, you're
Go
right.
back to the board, and cross out what doesn't belong there.
No, we
That's
don't.
what I say.
No, we don't have
What's
to.
not storage?
No,
Why don't we just look at what's not storage?
yeah, let's.
Well, that's what I'm,
Yeah,
this is where I'm
What
getting
is
going.
not storage?
well, I think, that's why I want to go over this next list, which was, is boat storage, is that what Estes had there? Did Estes have outside boat storage?
They didn't, but if the permit was silent on, it wasn't labeled as contractor storage even.
Yeah, it
though
was. Well,
It was discussed, but if it ultimately hit the permit as small business storage, if you're in the business of
storage?
boating, then I think it fits.
Outside boat storage?
Inside, outside, they had a lumber yard and they had lumber outside the buildings
But,
as
let-
well as
but-
inside the
but Let me
buildings.
ask you a question, in the.
And boats don't make any noise unless
Well,
you
no,
fire them
no,
up, you know?
No, they don't, but I tell you what boats do. And boats have gasoline. And.
But you can regulate that other ways by saying you can't have fuel stored
Well,
on the
who's
property.
gonna regulate it?
Fire department.
I mean, right now,
It's-
we've got
it's-
two floats down there that
It's
the.
not our jurisdiction,
They
it's
have until
not.
February 11th, they haven't done it yet, they're.
I know, but they've been
you gotta
after
give
them
'em a
for
chance.
6 months to get it out of there,
They're subject to all laws, they are,
you see?
all
Well, they've
applicable
given them a
laws.
time frame to work it out. These things don't happen overnight.
I
You gotta
understand,
give them an
but-
opportunity to
But
do
I'm just
that.
saying, he's saying that they can do it. I don't think a boat storage
I'm
is
not
is
sure
a
I
good
agree with
idea.
that either. No, I don't agree with the outside boat storage.
Yeah, I
I
know,
think
I
if they
mean,
wanna
you
be inside, I don't have a problem with
And,
it.
and I don't have a problem with.
That's my
with, several of the things that he's got inside, I don't have a problem with, but that's not what he told the board.
We didn't restrict.
So right now, are we
did
going
not
to,
restrict
right now,
the storage
what is our
outside the
purpose
buildings.
right now to do?
Well,
What is our purpose? Go back to the start all over. What's the purpose right now? What
no,
are we here to do?
I think that we gotta.
The attorney put something before us, and he said we're going back to
Yeah,
the
well,
first,
So we're acting on the complaint.
let's not get
That's
off
the
track.
issue before
No,
us.
we're acting on the complaint, and I
Right.
think that
Right.
when the complaint comes in, that gives the board the authority, under the powers of the board, to act as the authority of the town.
the complaint came by from the fire.
Yeah, and
Okay.
but that opens it up, under the powers of the board to allow the board to, then
Vote.
vote and issue cease and desist. And so what we could say is that, if I went through the list, you know, like 110 towing, I don't think 110 towing is an allowed use, period.
Why don't we vote on what's
Let's
there
vote.
and the
That's what I said
uses?
10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Okay, well, all right, so let's go down. I think that, well, let me get my list. I think that,
I have my own list too.
I got a list. I think that for practical purposes, we should
Second
issue,
page of this. That's his list.
uh,
Do a show of hands on each
I will,
business.
yeah. Let me get my,
Does it comply with the permit?
yeah, okay, let's start right down the line. I'll go under, but the disadvantage we have is that this particular, list that I have was, done on 11/5/2014, and I looked tonight before I came down here, and it didn't appear that there was any painter listed on here, so I know there was a painter that came to the last meeting and spoke, so, but let's go right down the line and,
Find out which one he's in.
what's that?
I can tell you which one he's in.
Okay, tell me what's,
Well, he's probably a new addition.
yeah, he wasn't on that list, so,
He should be in the minutes.
yeah, she's looking right now.
Are we clarifying if this is inside storage or outside storage?
Well,
before we-
both, we're gonna go down, right down.
And as you go down the list, if you have something vacant, address as you go down if it's vacant.
We're gonna vote on them. Well, here we go. Here's my list. Because if you, like I said, I'm gonna read it one more time. The minutes that Mr. Harper spoke to us said, he said that it was gonna be storage. He says that the existing will be rented to different people. Harper replied, since people need storage.
Okay.
It doesn't talk about running a business, it says people need storage. And, okay, so let's go down, let's go right down one at a time. What you got, what building's he in?
It says 109E,
109E,
and his name is David Henshaw.
okay, see, 109E is now David Henshaw. And he is a painter,
Yes.
and I wonder if he's operating his business there or just storing stuff there.
He said he was storing
He was just
material.
storing
Okay,
materials,
all right, good, okay, all right. Then, let's go down, let's start right, if I'm reading, sir, if I'm reading a number and you know that it's not vacant, would you please tell us?
Mr. Harper can tell you.
Okay. 101, B 101 is vacant.
Hold on a second if you want us to do that. Okay.
Vacant? B 101,
I'll tell you if
B
what you have
101.
on the list isn't correct, I'll.
B01, B 101 vacant,
Yes.
okay? B 102, SD Business Associates, Equipment Tools. Still accurate?
Yes, I thought you wanted me to tell you if it wasn't vacant.
Okay, no, it's still accurate, because we're gonna vote on these right now. Is that still accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the board's decision on that? Do they think that's, falls within the application?
Permitted use.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Are we gonna talk about 101?
We're gonna take them all, one right down, one right down. the line.
I know, I understand, 101's vacant, but in the future, it may not be vacant.
Well,
So you
no,
wanna-
we're gonna address it, they're gonna have to come
Okay.
back, the board.
Okay.
Deal with what's compliant and what isn't.
We're
right
gonna
now.
do compliance, what is, and then we're gonna go back with it, because everyone's gonna have to come back and get a permit, like the rest of the town. Okay, so, we need a motion to accept, B 102, as an accepted use. Need a motion. Kathy, seconded, Jane?
Do you want to just do one blanket and then vote for each one?
No, we'll do one at a time,
One at a time,
Okay,
one at a
so-
time.
So,
no confusion.
Kathy and Jane, for, any discussion?
Are we doing 4 or are we seconding it?
He did second it.
Well,
Okay.
we need to vote each
Yeah,
person.
yeah, we're gonna, yeah, what I'm saying, now we have a discussion, any further discussion on that?
Procedurally, you gotta get it.
Okay.
okay, who
Clerk.
motioned?
Jane motioned, Kathy seconded, no further discussion, all's in favor?
Permitted use.
Okay, permitted, unanimous, permitted,
The opposite, Julie.
yep, permitted. Okay. B 103 is B and B sprinkler storage, okay, sprinkler storage. Is that an allowed use, sprinkler storage?
If it's just storage.
I believe this one is just storage. Is that what this one is? Just storage?
Yeah, the office is in a separate building.
Okay, I thought so, okay. Okay, just storage.
Permitted use.
Okay, we need a motion? Make a motion, it's permitted?
Motion permitted.
Mike,
Second.
second, Kathy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's permitted. I have, B 104A is vacant. Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, okay.
was my head.
A B 104B, I have that vacant.
Yes, I think you missed, Mr. Chairman, B-115.
Oh, no, I got him. No, I put him in order. I
Yeah,
got
put
him.
them in order by number.
I put him by numbers. I went
Oh,
down.
no wonder I'm
I didn't
confused.
do it your way. I didn't do it your way.
It's not easy. No,
Sequential.
how to get me confused.
Yeah, well, I did it by numbers. No, I got him. I know, yeah, I pulled them off and did them by numbers. Because I was typing them, and it was easier for me to type them.
I told you,
in
you
sequence.
missed one.
Yeah. So B 104A, I have that as vacant.
Yeah, well, A and B are unoccupied.
Okay, that's what I have, okay, that's still vacant. Okay, now, B 104C is a Craig Callisto storage of auto washer fluids, etc.
The C and D have not changed.
Okay, hold on, that's right, we're gonna do C right now. Craig Callisto storage of auto washer fluids. I'm not sure what that
What
is.
does that mean?
I don't know.
That window washer stuff?
What can you answer what that is?
It's for cars, he's got 3 cars there.
It's,
So, like in your garage, you might have, we also, this list is also going to the planning board for
that's all
material.
right, we're the zoning board.
I
Now,
understand,
But
I'm
we
just
wanna
explaining
know-
what it's.
Yeah.
Right, but so there's cars in there and not auto washer fluids.
It's automobiles, washer fluid, individual bottles of antifreeze.
So he probably has antique cars in there.
It's not storing that stuff. That's the stuff that's in the cars.
Right,
You know,
right.
like
But-
you got
But
stuff
that's
in your
not what
cars
this
like that.
list,
not what it
but
says.
that's not what it says.
I
So
took it
let's
right
just
off your
clarify,
list.
let's see if we can clarify a little bit. So as far as, there's 3 antique cars in there, and he may have some, the fluids and stuff for the vehicles, he's not got cases and cartons, okay, all right.
It's like you'd have in your garage.
Yeah, that's not what it says, though, and that's not what,
That's just
I took it
saying
right off your list.
What he's saying is that they made this for conservation, which
Okay.
they wanna know what's in everything,
All
so.
right, so you're saying that there's 3 antique autos in B 104C? Is that correct? All right,
That's it, I just have one
Go-
more
go ahead.
question. I don't wanna
Ask-
really beat this,
that's
but,
all right, go ahead.
so you have 3 antique automobiles in there. And there are existing fluids that are normal fluids used in an automobile inside of the automobiles. Is that correct? There is no other fluids outside of the automobile being stored in there?
No,
None.
none.
Yeah, that's not what,
That's not what was
that's not
presented
what the list
to
says.
us.
You know, you gotta understand that the fire chief asked for certain things. We had him fill out a form telling us everything that was there.
Mhm.
So they're telling us, hey, I've got a car, and these are the things that are in the car. Maybe it's,
And I understand that, however, it is also stated in, this application that, you know, you are the monitor of what goes in and what comes out. And so, I think it's safe to assume that that also includes what's in the buildings at any given time. I would think that it would be in your best interest to always know what's being stored in those buildings. So, you know, you gave us a list, and I'm referring to the list that we have that says automobiles, washer fluid, individual bottles of oil and antifreeze. Now, that's the reason that I asked. Is it
That's what it
only the
says.
fluids that are normal in an automobile?
I think you gotta decipher whether that's normal quantities for 3 cars, or is he storing gallons of the stuff?
That's what I was at.
Right, if
So,
you have one.
If I have a
per
But that
car,
wasn't
I
the
have an
question,
extra can
but
of
I
oil,
understand
right?
that. I'm not unreasonable. But my question was, is it only fluids that are inside the car? I think I was,
yeah,
Pretty
he's
clear
not
about that.
storing cases of this fluid.
No, that's not the question. The question is there any storage of any bottles of oil or antifreeze that's not within the car?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then who would be aware of it then?
I mean, we can go down and look at it.
No,
I mean,
this is what,
I've
see,
had the fire
see,
people
see, this
down
is
there
what you gave,
inspect the whole
this is what
place.
you gave the board, and this is all we got to work on. We're going off on you, this is your,
I'm confused, are we concerned whether or not he has a bottle of?
No, we're
antifreeze
not.
Sitting on the
Difference,
floor?
really. The
What-
point is,
What difference does it make if it's a
when we
car or
filled out
outside?
this form, the tenant, or whatever you wanna call him, put on his form that
What
he
was
might
there?
wanna store that material.
What was there?
right.
I
And
think-
that's
Not
all,
saying
that's,
he's not
that-
doing it.
that's fine.
That-
But that's all we wanted to do, was just get clarification, because we have,
You just,
again, conflicting
you,
information.
you just answered a question that she asked. You just said, now, and I'm not sure if you realize what you said that he might wanna store that.
Right,
Well, then that would change that would change
that's why
whether.
it's on the list.
So make
Good
the,
God.
if the board looked at it and said that B 104C, if they accept it or whatever, it would be looked at by the fire department or whatever, whoever's in charge of those fluids. They have to go over and look at it. We
Yeah.
put a, can we put a writing next to it saying
Well, no, what
it needs to be looked at by someone else?
I think
I
what
don't-
Jane is trying to
I know,
get at,
I clearly
she's-
understand what
she's
she-
trying to understand whether or
I
not,
clearly understand
if
that.
you got a, let me just use this quickly. If you got this, and then inside of it, you have fluids, okay, that's fine. Okay, I think that's fine. But if you're gonna have this added to it, you know, several cases of windshield washer fluid, I don't know who Craig Callisto is. I don't, maybe his business is that he sells, he has a business where he sells that, and he's gonna use that for storage of window washer and, you know.
You would need a permit to do that, though. You know,
But if he,
Well,
but hold on.
Hold on.
I think we're nitpicking on
No,
this.
I
No,
don't
but
think so.
if he
Yeah,
went
I
in there,
agree.
No,
if
I
he,
think
if he
we're,
kept,
I
hold
think
on.
we're
What difference
I
does it
agree,
matter
but
if it's in the car or
what's
outside
in
the
the
car?
car, if he has an extra can of oil, an extra can of
But
antifreeze
that's
for the
fine.
car.
No, hold on. If he comes here tonight, and we say, this, whatever Mr. Harper just told us, that he doesn't have anything in there,
Yep.
and we write this up tonight, he has nothing in there, and then we go down there, we find something in there, Mr. Harper's in trouble, because there's something down there that shouldn't be down there.
Okay, fine.
You know what I'm saying?
So you think that's?
Okay,
that's
so
the
that's the way
point.
that's the way you're clearing that up.
Okay,
Okay,
That's
sorry.
the point that I was trying to make.
I understand where you're going.
No, we're
yeah, I
not
agree.
nitpicking about, you know, is it washer fluid or is
No,
it
I agree with-
antifreeze?
yeah.
It's, you know, we're going on the information that was presented to us, and based on that information that was presented to us, that's how we approved the permit.
That's right.
So, you know, maybe it seems like nitpicking, but these are the questions that need to be answered.
Is there some middle ground? I mean, I assume in an abundance of caution, the tenant, the lessee said, you know, I have my car, I store there, and, you know, I might have some oil or windshield washer.
I'm not sure that you're, have you seen this?
It's part of it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, this is what I took it off. I mean, and I didn't read it that way.
Well, for personal use or for
No,
commercial
no,
storage?
I read it the same way as Jane did. It says automobile washer fluid, comma, individual bottles of oil and antifreeze.
And what throws it off, it
Doesn't
doesn't
say-
say 3 cars.
Doesn't say one thing about a car being stored there.
It says automobiles. I think there should have been a comma perhaps after automobiles, but that's
No,
all
but
I
it
read.
doesn't, it says automobile washer fluids.
If you were to read it, you would think it's a guy storing fluids down there.
It doesn't say, I mean, that's, you know, the American language would have a comma there, yeah, you're right. But that's not what it says.
Right, I think we just need to have some clarification, because we can't, you know, we have to base our decision, does it
Yeah.
fit within the parameters of the bylaws?
Doesn't say what you.
Only solely based on
that's his source
what
data.
is presented to us.
I took it off on that.
He's got, he's just a guy
Yeah, no, I
that
took it
has
off.
3 antique cars that have been left to him by his family. Just needed someplace to store them. And he has individual bottles of, I guess, if he's gonna take it out for a ride, he'd have to put some windshield wiper fluid in there, so he's probably got a bottle of windshield wiper.
And again, that, you know, to Bill's point is, that's great. We just want to know that now. We want to make sure that it fits into the permit that we approved, okay? Because, you know, if there's another inspection or someone goes down there and all of a sudden, what you think is, you know, it's just a couple of bottles for those automobiles, if he happens to take it out for a ride on Sunday afternoon, great. But now all of a sudden you go there, and there are cases in there. And to the
That
po-
puts you in
and I
violation.
do wanna go back
Yeah,
to
so
the
get it
point, and
in
I,
there
and
now if you need it.
I don't wanna, again, belabor this, but, you know, in your proposal that you gave us, what we based our information on, approved it on, was that you were going to be the monitor of what goes in and what comes out. So, again, you know, when we ask questions, if you don't know, that scares me,
How's he,
that you can't answer the question.
he can't follow everybody around, though, I mean, it's.
But that's what he said he was gonna do.
But that,
The
that's what was
monitor
presented
is, you're
to
gonna
us.
do the best of your, to the best of your ability, you're gonna have people sign leases, disclose
Well,
their
yeah, but-
intent.
yeah,
And when they
you-
deviate from the intent,
You're
he's
right.
not culpable
No.
for somebody lying to him.
You're right, Dan,
A-
except,
and if
this
there's-
isn't the first night we've discussed this.
But-
We've been here four months.
If there's cold storage for cars in that building, it's de minimis, it's trivial that he's got a
Well,
windshield
yeah,
wiper
well,
fluid
no,
or an
it-
extra quart of oil in there.
It is, but that's not what it says.
As long as it complies with fire regulations and things of that
Correct.
nature, and I'm
Right.
not a fire expert here,
Hey,
okay?
the board that belongs discussing the oil and the fluids and all that would be another board. We're discussing
Another
the
board, the
use
fire
and
chief,
that
the
building.
board of
So do you
health.
thi-
Right.
So what do
Okay,
we,
so they need to
so
have-
do we have a motion that's allowed use in that?
As long as it's not storing
As long
cases
as-
of washer
As long
fluid.
as it is as it was just
Okay,
presented.
so let's, someone's gonna make a motion that says that it's approved as long as, so you wanna make that motion,
I'll
Jane?
make a motion to approve.
And the motion is, no storage of,
Hazardous materials.
no hazardous material. Okay, second?
Second.
Kathy? Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, that's allowed, permitted. Newell Farm Builders, storage of building materials. That's in B 104D, is that correct, Larry?
Yeah,
Can I carry it, Larry?
sure.
Okay, thank you.
There are tenants now in E and F.
Okay, what would be an E?
Can't say the name, can you, Eric?
Spell
spell
it,
it.
spell it.
I left out a comma, I mean, I spelled it. Nickolins.
Nickolo.
Nicolinus?
Yeah, that's good,
NS?
sorry.
And what is this?
It's storage of automobiles.
Same thing, he's a lawyer from Peabody, and he's got, he collects antique cars, he's got 3 antique cars in it.
So,
Yeah.
Is that, okay, now how about, what's the board feel on that?
The on-
Permitted use.
the only, I say it's fine.
Yep.
But if we're gonna start looking at all these buildings with automobiles in there.
Yeah.
And God forbid one of them catches on fire.
Yeah.
As long as the fire department has the right to go in there and do their due diligence,
Yeah.
I'm good for it. I'm good with it. But I
Well,
think,
we can make that at the end, we can make it, that all these approvals of automobile storage will be subject to fire department inspection to.
Right.
And I'm sure that the fire department or whomever has strict limitations. You can only have X amount of gasoline,
Gasoline fuel.
X amount of oil on premises. Anything over that, you need a special permit of some
Now,
sort.
and let me just make sure that, that when we say that this is okay, let me just make sure that when we say this is okay, we're talking about antique auto stored inside unit. All these that we're talking about is inside storage,
Yes.
okay? B 104E.
Did we vote on D?
But we didn't vote on D yet.
No.
he was the builder.
We didn't vote on D.
No, we didn't.
Skip D.
We
Oh,
were
I'm
ta-
sorry.
We went right to E.
Oh, I'm sorry, you know why? Because you started telling me those, okay,
We
excuse
need
me,
to
yeah.
do one at
So,
a time.
the Newell Farm Builders, storage of building materials. Now, he lives over on, off on, Center Street, I believe. I looked him up, he's not using that as his address. I'm not sure what he's storing there, but.
What type of equipment has he got there? That was one of the questions I had.
He's a
Yeah.
contractor. He has, some of his tools in there.
No heavy equipment is what I'm after.
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Like backhoes and
No.
stuff like that.
No.
Okay.
Any problems with that? Okay, Mike, we're gonna make a motion? Mike
Make
makes a
a motion
motion,
to approve.
seconded. Dan seconds it.
So,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's good. All right, now this,
Nicolinus.
Nicolinus, auto storage, he has 3, you said? 3 antique autos?
Yes.
3 antique autos?
No, I think he said that he had one automobile.
No, 3.
Nicolinus.
No,
3.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
Nicol-
what,
Three?
3 or 1?
Yeah, what?
He has 3.
3, that's what I thought.
oh, okay,
Three.
so the same as
He
Callisto?
has- Yeah, and he has room for probably a couple more if you want.
Okay,
for
so-
it.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so,
right, I thought it was one.
so
Okay.
in B 104E is, antique auto storage, is that less than? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
motion by Kathy, seconded by Mike, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's permitted. Okay, moving right along. Okay, now, Larry, in E, excuse me, F, what do you got in F?
It's Titus Plumbing and Drain, storage of plumbing supplies and equipment.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask the question, what's his principal address for his business?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Does he have employees
If it's
going there
there,
every
I'll
day?
have them change it.
Does he have employees going there every day taking stuff out?
They come and get their trucks and leave.
Okay. And he doesn't have any office space there that you know of right now?
No,
Does-
The trucks are parked there?
yes,
Inside or outside?
outside.
Okay, now, here's where I think we gotta look up at 441 Main Street, the matrix, that I'm calling a matrix. Beyond the fence, did, because this is gonna come up on other ones as we go down, did Estes Lumber Yard have other contractors parking their equipment, i.e. their trucks in there overnight? And having employees come in the morning to pick them up, and I'm assuming leaving cars there during the day, and then coming back at night. That's part of this. Is that a greater use or less than?
Is it more, equal, or less than
Yeah.
detrimental to the property?
Exactly. So what's your take on that?
As far as selling plumbing stuff, he sold plumbing stuff in the hardware store.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that they're utilizing the lot for the use of, the use of storing the vehicles outside of the property. Because, now, this is the first one we're coming up to. Now, we're gonna come down the other ones, and you're gonna have other businesses that got trucks there, so all of a sudden, we could have 20, 30 trucks there, dump trucks, plow trucks, van trucks. The whole thing could be, several businesses in there with all these trucks with everything. Is that greater than or equal to what's on the board, which is the matrix?
My personal opinion is anything inside, plumbing, materials and whatnot, inside, fine. It's the outside storage I have trouble with.
I
Vehicle
agree.
storage or just storage in general?
Anything
Both.
outside.
See, I think that knowing what was at Estes beforehand, they had vehicles outside.
Yeah, but they're all Estes. See, what I'm saying is,
I
what's
realize
gonna
that.
happen is,
Well-
this is the first one. As we go down, you're gonna have, I know that True Lawn, the other lawn one there,
Well, let's
The
get to
ski-
those in a minute.
but you gotta be cognizant of the fact that this is the first one, and we
understand.
gotta be consistent. Is that something we want, is that something that we feel meets that matrix of less than or equal to the use prior to, beyond the fence? And I tend to agree that.
Well,
it
where,
is-
Goes back
where
to-
my opinion comes from
Yep.
is running self-storage facilities.
Yep.
Never at any point is anything allowed outside of your storage unit. You rent 101, you get the confines of 101.
But that's
If you
not
wanna
what the
put your
lumberyard
trucks in-
did. That's not what happened at the lumberyard.
But we're talking storage.
We're talking prior use that's legal,
Yeah.
non-conforming.
Yeah, but see,
They had stuff all over that lumberyard there, so why can't they have it now?
well.
That's what we're talking about.
Registered vehicles.
We're talking about, it doesn't matter if the green truck is registered
Well,
to me or you,
well,
it's still a green
Well,
truck.
the problem.
So,
but
it's
is it on that
irrelevant.
Problem
list?
is the collection
You see,
of them.
what I'm saying is, it's a situation where, Dan, you gotta realize.
The
that-
lumber yard is a lumber yard.
Exactly.
Yard,
And you know what they
yard,
had?
so
They-
it's
they probably
outside,
had-
it doesn't say
they-
lumber building, it
they
says
had-
lumber yard.
They had lumber
And you
stored
put,
there.
you put lumber all over the yard,
Yep.
that's what a lumber yard does, they sprawl it all out, they, if
Yep.
you got another truckload of 2x4s coming in, you park it right there, cause you have room.
But they had-
That's what a lumber yard does.
Hold on.
When I've been to,
A
when I
lumber
went to
yard
Hold on,
Estes,
had
hold on.
materials all over it.
Hold on.
correct me if I'm wrong.
So to
but
say it
I-
all
my
has to be indoors, it's just not reality.
My recollection of Estes,
10 o'clock.
excuse me, my recollection of Estes, when I have shopped there, was that they had the lumber in the buildings, you had to go to the particular building, say, I want 10 2x4s of this or that. And they were within the confines of the building,
And
and
there
the
was
gentleman
nothing
would
else-
take them out.
there was nothing
They
outside.
didn't store it outside,
They had
except
outside.
under those little buildings that were removed.
So as we go through this, maybe
They weren't out in the middle of the yard, he
Hold on.
didn't
Let me ask you
like
this.
tumble over
The
2x4s.
non-conforming use,
Yeah,
okay, was at the time of the zoning change,
in 1974.
yes. Who knows whether or not they had pallets on that lumber yard outside the buildings in 1970, what was it?
Pallets are different than
Does
vehicles.
anybody know?
Well, but see, what we have to rely on is what the affidavit from 441 Main Street, Howard Estes gave us.
Now, when they call it a lumber yard, is it just semantics to say it's the yard, or is it lumber building?
Can I just say something?
Is it lumber building?
We
It's
have-
lumber yard. You put lumber all over the yard.
Yeah, but I know,
All
I know, but.
Fill it up to the
but
max.
Wait, but
No.
then.
From
but then-
fence to
like that.
fence.
No, then he went more specific, and he said that we had a sawmill operation, that we had sheet rock that we stored and sold, we had plywood that we, this is dead storage, that we stored and sold, and then we had a planer. Nowhere does it say that attached to this sheet rock building, we had, what's this one here? What's the one we're just doing? Titus Plumbing having 2 or 3 trucks parked there, and employees coming picking them up today, and leaving their cars there, and using those trucks and bringing them back there. That didn't happen.
Chair, can I talk?
Go ahead.
You're hung up right now on a situation, you said that as we go down this list, it's gonna keep coming to haunt us.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. so-
Parking.
So now,
It's all about
do we
parking.
take and say, we either table it, or we have it come in under a special permit? I don't know if you can do it.
Well, they're all gonna come in a special permit.
Well, I don't, I'm just,
So
I don't agree with that either.
yeah, okay.
Can I say something?
I just-
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike, 'cause you can.
I know Estes had vehicles back there.
Yeah.
Right, so I think your point is that if we go through this list, we start saying, yes, they
Yeah.
have vehicles, you're
Yeah.
gonna have way more vehicles than were there
That's-
before.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe you just say, this guy can't have a vehicle, he can't have 2 vehicles. I don't know
Or
how
there's
you
a
do it.
limit on the
Right, there's a
lot.
Well,
limit.
that's
You
what
can't
I-
have 30 parked back
Well,
there,
that's-
but they had maybe 4.
give him a limit.
Well, see, that's what I'm
It's a
trying
matter of degree.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Give 'em a
That's
limit.
exactly, yeah, so if we go down here and all of a sudden we say
Allow
yes,
one
yes, yes.
car,
yeah,
one
It's not a
car.
parking lot.
Yeah, we say yes, 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 and all of a sudden, you could have potentially 38 or even 76 cars parked in there. And so
Well,
that's,
that's what I'm
And that's
saying.
gonna help limit you're worried about how many employees too, I guess. I
and the
don't know.
uses, so I don't have the answer, but I have the concern.
We were silent on the issue of how many automobiles or boats you can park
Well,
in the yard.
Except that.
We did not address that issue.
Well, but we didn't address that, we only addressed, was inside storage, was storage. It didn't address any parking of vehicles.
Does it say inside?
Yeah, it says storage of, wait here.
Right, I was under the impression that
It was
they
all
would be storing
inside.
automobiles like Mr. Callisto
Yeah,
inside storage.
You get a 22-acre property that was used. It's-
yeah, but
It doesn't have trees on it, it's asphalt, most of it, and it was used to put stuff on it. Otherwise, why would you hot top the whole thing?
So.
So everywhere there's hot tops, somebody drove over it or parked materials on it.
Not a
Sure they
problem
did.
driving in there. The problem is having vehicles stored there. It could be a potential of two outside storage of buildings, of 2 vehicles for 38 buildings. You could have 76 cars stored there.
You can-
I don't think that, and it's all predicated on having a use there. This is a non-conforming use,
So-
predicated on having less than or equal to what's there.
So we need to decide what the degree is,
Well,
how
that's
many
it. I don't
cars
know.
can be stored outside.
I agree.
Because
And that
we
should probably
were
come under
silent
site
on that,
plan.
it wasn't an issue before us.
Parking.
Well, but.
Now it is.
Yeah, it was an issue because that wasn't what the permit was, we never talked about having
Well,
businesses out.
Well, for illustrative purposes, if you park one automobile on that 22-acre lot, is that less detrimental than the previous use?
No, but the day I
Okay.
was, the day I was in
And then you
there,
turn it into, there's a rental company, and they want to park a fleet of cars there, and it's 1,000 automobiles.
Yeah.
Does that exceed the prior use? I would say yes.
Well, wait,
So,
wait.
somewhere you move that dial to,
I was down
what
there,
can
the
be
day
stored
that I
outside?
went in, there was 2 dump trucks with plows, 2 van trucks with, 2 pickup trucks and 2 van trucks, and another vehicle.
so that's what, less than 10? How's my math, CPA?
Okay, however, yeah, but as we go down here, where do you draw the line? See, I don't think he had I don't think that
You
the
think- you
the
think-
lumberyard
you-
had 10 vehicles. No, I think.
You
no,
think that 10's an intensification of that?
Well, I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't
I think
think
what you gotta,
How
the
many-
board has to decide.
Especially if they're not being used after the hours of
how many
7 PM.
vehicles does
They're
this
just
gentleman
not being,
have?
they're not
How
being
many vehicles?
operated.
You know, when I lease out each space, I designate an area for them to park. They can't park any more than what they've got there. That's it. They can only park right in front of their little door there, and so if they can fit 4 vehicles there, they could actually have 4 registered vehicles there. No
Yeah, but see,
unregistered.
you're missing the point, Eric. Is that an intensification of what was there? If you let every building have 4 cars in front of their building,
Yeah.
that's not, that's far exceeds what was there as a non-conforming use. It has, what the new use that you're proposing, or that you have, that you said, was inside storage of construction stuff. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking, if you got 4 registered vehicles in front of each one of those doors, 38 times 4 is what? The other math.
Well, right now, it's 60% leased in the back there. If you come down and look at that place, if anybody comes in there and looks during the day, it's like a vacancy. There's nobody even there.
Chair?
That's not the point. It's not the day. It's what was there.
The SD affidavit talks about trucks,
Yeah,
including
yeah.
10-wheelers and pickup trucks.
That's, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have a number, though.
But it doesn't have a number.
They
So-
plowed
so-
they plowed for the town of Groveland,
Well,
and they had their trucks, all
yeah,
their
but
plow trucks
I
stored there.
don't think, I think that's a big issue with the cars, but I
Okay,
don't know what the
so
solution is.
let's
What is it, Bill?
let's just pick this apart a little bit.
Right.
So this guy turns around and leases his spot, he's a plumber, and he parks, he has 2 vehicles he works with. He parks them inside the building, we don't have a problem with that, am I correct?
Correct.
Inside the
Okay,
building, no.
Inside,
turn
no
around,
problem.
if he parks them inside the building, we don't have a problem with that, because we're saying we
Storage.
want inside storage.
Correct.
So turn around, the plumber employs 2, maybe 3 people. They drive in that gate in the morning, they park their car out front, now we have 3 cars parked out front. So all we're arguing about right now is overnight parking, am I correct?
Inside the fence that you can't
Yeah, we're
even
ta-
see.
Yeah, we're talking inside the fence.
You can't even see it. It's out of
Right.
sight.
So what I'm
Yeah, but-
saying is, if it's overnight parking, then it's either we have to decide they're not parking outside overnight, or they're parking.
Well,
As we go
no,
through the list.
I think what you gotta realize, now listen,
In front of the building is different than behind the gate.
yeah, the front of the building, we're giving a lot of leeway, but behind the gate, now, we've gotta take care of Mr. Harper, needs to be taken care of, absolutely. We've never, ever once said that we didn't want something to go in there, and then we never once said that he wasn't doing a fine job, just said it has to meet the code, the criteria. However, the town has to be satisfied that it's meeting the criteria of 106.1, and the neighbors should be protected as well. So if you have all these cars in there, and say from October or November, when the time changes, till April, the time changes, you're talking about a lot of lights starting up, and lights that never was there at that time of the day. If you got 38 cars in there at 5 o'clock starting their cars up, with turning their lights on and revving their cars and heating them and leaving, I think that's a more intensive use than what was there.
Right.
If it's during,
You went back to the hammer mill and we talked noise, we gotta talk noise, go back to a hammer mill, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think 38 cars would start up at once. You know what I'm trying to get at? But I understand what you're saying, I
Yeah.
clearly understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I say, we have to decide, are the cars gonna be kept inside, number 1, or number 2, we turn around and we say, there's a number. 2 cars per business, I don't know, he just said 4 cars, we give them a number.
yeah,
So
I
we
mean,
say, a business gets 2 cars, I don't know, I mean, we can sit here and hammer this all night, how are we gonna come up with it?
Well, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Did you go in front of planning for site plan review?
We're in their process right now.
You are, okay, so I assume that part of that site plan review is parking,
152.
correct?
Yes.
But they haven't approved a certain amount of parking spaces at this point?
52.
Okay,
What
all
time
right.
is it?
They will
So
do
that's
that.
what I was wondering.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bill,
Yep.
38 times 4 is
A lot.
152.
Right.
So there could be 152 cars there.
I'm not doubting that.
So-
I agree what you're saying.
See, so-
All I'm saying
see-
is, can we find some kind of a,
And what happened was if he had proposed in April, when he came in, that he was gonna have
I
4
understand
cars
what you're saying.
outside parking
all
there,
I'm saying is, we're on
he
this
wouldn't have gotten
number.
approval.
We're on this number, and we're hung up on the point
Yeah, I
about the
know.
car being stored overnight. That's where I am. I'm
Yeah.
hung up on that point, of the car being stored.
I'm happy with limiting it to 50 cars outside.
It's all right.
Cars or trucks.
Behind the fence.
Behind the fence.
not in front of the building.
Not in front of
It'll
the,
be out of sight,
out of sight.
gates locked at 7.
Wait a minute,
Five.
now, hold on.
I think 50 is excessive.
Yeah, I think 50's a lot, too. 'Cause-
There's 39 units there.
I know, but listen, listen, look at the
You don't even
board
see-
back
You don't
there.
even see them.
Look at the board, yeah, but listen, look at the board. I mean, the matrix, it doesn't meet the matrix standard. The standard was that he didn't have 50 cars parked behind that gate at night.
Right, it's
Didn't
not a
happen.
parking lot.
I don't care.
He
But-
didn't, but we can decide whether or not automobiles, storage of automobiles is less detrimental than the prior use.
And also-
I don't
also,
think
Chair,
an automobile is any
also,
more
if-
detrimental
I don't know if
to
Mr.
the
Harper's gonna,
neighborhood
in all
than a-
fairness, you
than a
just said it, in
pile of
all
lumber.
fairness, is Mr. Harper gonna rent 38 of these things all to businesses, or some of them are gonna be storage? Some of those storage people may not be there
Yeah, I know.
for weeks, months, or whatever.
Well,
The guy with the antique car, he may
think-
not show up there for 4 months,
I
so
think
he's
what we
not
should-
gonna have a car there.
I think what we should do is come up with a number, and then when we approve, we just approve them, and we don't, one could,
Subtract it from that.
one could have 5, one could have 10, but you can only have a total of, whatever that number is. I've always liked the number.
I personally don't think they're all gonna be there at once, because I
I
think
always
some of these
like-
places have storage.
50's
I
reasonable,
like
and
the
it's
number 25
22
myself.
acres, isn't
I've
it?
always liked
20-something
25.
acres?
21 acres.
It's huge.
Well, I think 25 is a
And
better
if,
number.
and if they're on one side of the building, you can't see it from the other side of the building. So where's the harm and the foul to
Well,
the neighborhood and
well,
the changing the character
I
and
think
and
it
the
is.
detriment to the neighborhood? It's after 7 o'clock. You can't see, oh, he's got a car way in the rear of the property behind building number 15.
Well,
It's out of sight, out of mind.
It's an intensive use.
Well, I disagree. Let's put it to a vote.
Let's go.
Cars and.
I think that we should make a
Can
number,
I
hold
just-
on, Jane, go
Can I
ahead.
just
Go ahead.
say something?
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanna go back, we had, when we were having discussions about the cars and the
Yeah.
washer fluid.
Yeah.
You know, I think we determined that for those kinds of chemicals and gas, you know, storage of automobiles with gasoline in them, leaving it to, you know, that's comes under the fire chief.
Yeah.
Okay, and, you know, I'm thinking, I'm just envisioning, you say, they say, what harm or what foul? Well, if there's 50 automobiles and they all have gasoline in them, they all have oil in them, and whatever fluid, you know, antifreeze in them, and all of a sudden, something happens, and they all start to
Oh, yeah.
Go up.
go up,
Guess what?
what harm or foul is that?
The sky
Well,
could
that's
fall
why
too.
I
I
asked
mean, we're
about the
talking,
planning board site
the
review.
law's gotta conform to common
I know,
sense and
but we
common
have
experience. And
business
it
people in
doesn't seem
front of
like
us, not
common
Chicken
sense
Little.
to me that
Hold on.
a few automobiles parked next to a
Okay,
building are
yeah.
all of a sudden gonna
Why can't we just- why can't we
self-incinerate
put that back
themselves.
on the
Right, so
fire
my
department?
point is, put that back to the fire department, and.
But I think we're
Based
getting.
on the acreage, what is the
It's
allowable?
22 acres. Do you realize how much
The
property that
fire
is?
department can say
who
based
can
on the
park
acreage.
overnight and who can't.
So
but it-
basically, you got 22 acres and he wants 50 cars to be permitted there, so you're saying you can park, what, 2-point-something cars per acre? I mean, how's my math on that one? 2 cars an acre.
But what was there?
And I got a house that has less than an acre, and I park 2 cars on it, and a boat and everything else, and you know what? Maybe it'll burn my house down tonight.
That's 8 minutes.
No, I guess
It's just, it's asinine.
the reason
it's
why I'm
asinine.
bringing up the planning board is because the planning board will do a review of the
Let them
park-
do their job. This is the
That's what-
ZBA.
I understand that,
And
but
if the
part of
fire
that is
chief
gonna
has a
be
problem with
parking
the
that they're
level
gonna
of
review.
fluids and flammable fluids on there, that's the jurisdiction that the fire department, the state fire marshal can come down and say, you gotta limit the number of
Well,
flammable,
okay,
The
gallons.
conversation started
Hold-
out,
let-
wait a minute. The conversation started out, we're talking about cars being parked out of the building, outside overnight.
Outside.
Now it's gone into we're talking about cars inside, we're
No,
getting
no.
out of control
No,
here.
no, we're not talking inside.
Well,
No,
I think,
no.
if we're talking firemen.
We're talking zoning,
No,
not
no,
fire.
listen, we're talking,
code.
it's whether or not,
Of jurisdiction it's in.
it's whether or not the parking of cars behind the fence exceeds what's on that board up there that the lumber company had. And I think that they probably, even if they had 69 employees, didn't have any more than 25 vehicles. And I would be willing to say 25 would be a fair number of vehicles in there. Don't care how they distribute it. If Mr. Hopper wants to say you can have 4 and you can't have 0, and you can have 2 and you can have 1, we don't care. 25. I can't imagine that company ever had more than 25 vehicles.
But Tom, under the law, we don't have to tick for tack every detail and facet of that business under the law.
Well-
You look at it in the totality of the
Yeah, we're not
circumstances.
tic-tac,
And
we're just
whether or
using
not
the guide.
the overall use. So if he only had X amount of automobiles, you don't have to match that equally.
We have the ability
Well,
to change.
I think you do. I think you can't, I think if you have more cars there, that you're exceeding the non-conforming use.
Well, that's your opinion.
Well, that's right. But I got other people down here that do, you're in the minority.
Let's put it to the vote and put
Okay,
this to
good.
bed.
Okay, I think that we should limit it to 25, and, any second on that, Jane? Second. Any discussion?
Discussion, I
All
oppose that.
those in favor?
Well, I don't agree with, I don't agree with the number 25.
Okay.
I don't either.
Yep.
And are they gonna be registered or unregistered?
Okay,
Of
well,
course they have to be registered.
Let's make a vote.
They all need to
Make
be
sure we make
registered,
that
it can't
motion.
be a
We got a
junkyard.
second,
They all have to be
we
registered.
got a seconded,
Make it in the
so let's
motion.
make a vote. All those in favor? We got 2, 3 against. That didn't go.
I'm against 25.
We got,
I'm against 25.
yep, we got 3 against. Then what's your pleasure?
25 is like 1 an acre. I
move.
mean, that's just not
do you wanna
reasonable.
do?
It's a business.
Let's move on.
If we're,
Come on.
if we're talking true overnight storage,
Yep,
Legal non-conforming use.
keep going.
Is,
Dan, wait a minute, she's talking.
all
Come
right,
on.
please.
my contribution would be 30 or 35.
I was thinking 35.
Okay, you wanna make a motion? Mike making a motion,
Make
35
a motion for
cars.
35.
Seconded,
Second.
second. Any discussion?
I'm opposed. I
Okay,
think
no.
50
All those
was
in favor?
reasonable.
35, 4-1. 35,
Opposed.
Jane. Okay, so the 35 cars. Now we can move on.
No, wait a minute, Mike made the motion,
Yeah.
I seconded.
There you go. So 35 cars max, we don't care where they are.
Right.
Now let's keep going.
Distribute as you wish.
That's right.
So this is the last one was amended?
No.
25
we-
was amended
no,
to 35?
No, we went on cars. Now we're gonna say is Titus allowed use, the plumbers. What do you think?
Plumbing storage?
Yeah. No
Yes.
problem. Okay.
Approve. Motion to
Okay.
approve.
We got a motion by Mike, seconded by
35.
Kathy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's good.
I'm leaving.
Permitted.
What was
Okay.
that? Who voted on that? You guys are going too fast.
Oh,
I motion,
and then Mike,
Mike second me,
okay, that's,
I think.
4-1. That's, Dan is not on board. Building 105.
At the center.
Building 105 is the building that was built too close to the property line, and that building has to come in compliance. And I don't know how it's gonna happen, there's several ways, but it has to come in compliance with the 15-foot setbacks. I think that Mr. Harper should be given 30 days to come up with a plan, and 60 days to institute the plan, or be subject to a fine of $300 a day for each day that violation exists. That would be my suggestion, but open for discussion on that building.
Can we ask what they suggest on curing that? Because I don't
Okay.
think we've heard that
go ahead.
before.
Our
And
position
maybe-
is,
Maybe they have a plan.
our position is that building was shown on the plan
That's what I
that this
thought.
board approved.
Yeah.
It was shown on there.
Well, let me just show you, if you'd like to come up, I'm not sure if you're privy to this, but we have pictures, and we have a plan that was submitted to us that doesn't have it on there.
Well,
I'm not arguing, it's a new building, but it was shown on the plan.
It was not shown on not the plan that was, well,
Yeah, this
no,
one was.
it was on there,
Guys,
but.
you guys just asked for that,
but-
that 14-4 to be sent us out
That
to
was
sea.
next.
No, the little,
But the first plan that came before this board, it was not on there.
It's-
No, it was on, no, it was on there, but what happened was,
we didn't tell you it was new.
when I asked the question
That's what
if that was
happened.
existing, he said it wasn't, and then we found out that it wasn't, it was not there, so it was built, and it was built to, if he had said, I wanna build it, the board is not allowed, as I read, to allow a building to be built less than the setbacks of 15 feet. So the building has to be moved.
It was indicated as existing.
Yeah, I mean, our position was, it was shown on the plan that was approved. There was existing square footage in those wood sheds which existing square footage was replaced by this building that we're talking about,
But
B105.
but it can't be, it has to meet setbacks.
Well, our position was that it was no more non-conforming than the building adjacent to it, which is also 10 feet away from the property
It
line.
doesn't say that in the law. I read the law, I just read the law when I was up there.
I'll
It
just
doesn't,
tell you what our position is, that
yeah,
it was
okay. It has to be moved. That's,
relocation
my
of
position is,
existing
it either
space,
has to
and it's
be,
no more
it
non-conforming.
has to be taken down or removed, and I don't care which way it goes, but it has to be, when the final analysis, it has to be 15 feet from the property line. That's just what the law is. Go ahead.
So we're talking a difference of 5 feet, is that correct? Do I
Well,
have that right?
actually, on the side closest to,
Two different things.
Main Street, I think it's
Problem is,
it's either 10 or 11,
it's all
and
a lie.
depending on, one's 10, one's 11, so it's,
But it has to be 15.
it has to be 15.
Okay, so we're talking 4 or 5 feet on either side, correct?
I tell you, it's the, yeah, the building closest to Main Street is 11 feet from the line, and then the other side is 10, so it'd be 4 feet
That's-
one and,
So we're talking about these two this building here
right
then?
here. That's,
I thought it was this, because
Yeah.
you have this one, you're showing me that.
Was there a permit issued on that building?
Yeah, there was.
That
Right here.
map is null and void, you shouldn't be looking at that
There was a
map.
building
Well, this
permit
shows
issued.
what's
The building
going on.
inspector has
Doesn't
not
matter.
enforced
Well, I
any
understand
complaint
that.
about the location of that building.
And 20 days has lapsed. No one appealed did anyone appeal the setback violation?
No, there was a formal demand for
What was this one?
enforcement. The building inspector did not enforce it, and I'm stating to you what our view was. It was no more non-conforming than the adjacent building. And I think the building inspector also pointed out that there had previously been a building historically in that location some time ago. But we're not clear on that.
it is 05. It's this one here.
Say that one more time, Tom? I'm
It
sorry.
is, Larry, it's 05, isn't it?
It's 105, yes.
I guess I was looking at the wrong number. Maybe I don't have the numbers there.
Do you have the date of the permit?
I do. The permit actually says to relocate woodshed storage buildings to the area shown on the approved plan. The building permit was issued, or actually, the application
Who's
for
that?
it
Who's that?
was in June of 2014.
What's the date? Exact date.
Excuse me.
Who's writing this?
The building permit is
My
That
plan
was
doesn't.
no, that was on.
I don't know how that
No,
is,
nothing's on
because I could've sworn it wasn't on the first page.
Yeah, you give the
Yeah, there's-
application.
yeah, so it doesn't-
Where you're at.
Well,
So you guys, you definitely submitted that plan, it's been so long, it's been 4 months. The first night we had that meeting, that plan was submitted to us with that building on it?
I wanna know
Which-
the date of
The
the
plan
permit.
is
The color.
colored in, yes.
Blank.
Yes, right here.
That was the first night we got this?
Yes, that's the one.
And this is what's gone to be stamped and approved by,
That's in the original application.
in the original application.
I think you're wrong.
I'll
But it
state
wasn't
it.
really there.
I understand that.
Okay, so it's
Doesn't matter what's on the.
deception,
Right,
Yeah,
I agree.
The permit was
so,
before we
yeah,
came to
that's why we have to, that's unfortunately why we are
right.
painstakingly getting everything clarified.
Right,
If it was
I
granted.
understand.
Okay,
Do we have the date on the permit?
You know,
So-
I don't have it with
remember,
me.
I brought it up
June of
to town.
2013, I'm sorry.
how many people do you need to vote on
The application
these
is dated
things?
June
Yeah, we need
3rd,
that, yeah.
2013.
Then we need to
And the permit was
get it
granted
cracking
in
because
June?
I'm
I
leaving
don't have a
shortly.
copy of the
Well,
permit
I
as
mean,
issued.
I'm doing as fast as I can,
I
and
do, it was shortly thereafter.
we gotta
But
keep
it was to
moving.
move the sheds to
14.
a spot on the site.
Had to be 14.
Wasn't specific, no.
It was
So
13.
so what do you wanna do with B
June
105?
2013,
Still asking questions.
that the permit to build that building was issued.
And I have the application.
Permit was,
Can you bring that up, please?
Who's got it?
For that building,
This is his building permit application, June 3rd, 2013,
June.
to, it has to do with the office and the, to take down, or to renovate the shed, I think, but you can't read it. It's just
But not to build a new building.
No.
there's an earlier one
Isn't,
then.
yeah, isn't
We got a
there-
general
Those are the only
permit.
ones with public record.
isn't there a-
I'm trying to find out, was there a permit to build that building? That's my issue.
Not specifically, there was a permit
Go.
to move the sheds to a spot on the site.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the-
Is that the shed?
No, rebuild the sheds,
yeah,
whatever.
well, that's not rebuilding the shed. I
They
mean,
did whatever they
that's
wanted to.
building,
Here's also the second one.
Disregarding and
building.
disrespecting the law
you.
again.
I still think that you gotta adhere to the law of setbacks and now, as I've said several times, I've worked for municipalities where what you're saying, if all the buildings are, say, 22 feet from the line, you gotta be 25, you can build at 22. Our ordinance doesn't say that. Our ordinance is silent on that, you have to be 15 feet. There's no specific permit for that building to be built within the setbacks. The building has to meet 15 feet.
What about doing some sort of,
Well, no, there's all kinds of ways to cure it, you're right.
well, that's what I'm
I mean,
asking.
you could buy some property next door. I'm not sure that I don't know that leasing the property would work, but if you had the property,
Or an easement of some sort?
I'm not sure an easement works. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering,
I don't know that, but.
But that's not our job.
But
is it?
no, but
No,
what
but-
I'm saying is, we make I'd make a motion that the building be brought into compliance, and that Mr. Harper needs to come within 30 days of the next meeting to tell us how it's gonna happen, and then have it executed within 60 days of the 30. So he's got 90 days to take care of the issue,
Yeah, I
which will
think
put us into spring.
I think we isolate that issue and let them come back with a plan for it.
Second.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
second
saying.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
So they're gonna come in within 30 days?
yeah.
With the plan?
How to bring building 105 into compliance with setbacks.
Well, so it couldn't be at the February meeting, it'd have to be at our March meeting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because
We'll have to come in with a plan as to.
Yeah, it would be, right
how
now,
are you gonna
yeah.
address the setback?
See, we don't usually meet on, so we usually meet the first Wednesday, so you're right, it would be March. So you get till March to tell us how you're gonna do it, and then we'll give you 60 days after that to
With all
do
due
it.
respect, how do we know how long it's gonna take to carry out the plan? I mean,
Well, I'm just saying, you get
Come
30
with the
days to tell
plan.
us what you're gonna do, and then 60 days to take care of the problem.
I guess I was suggesting if you could set the time at the 30-day meeting when we come in.
Well,
Then we'll know how we're gonna do
all right,
it.
well, let's do
If we're
30,
gonna buy
all
land,
right,
it may
all right,
take
okay,
90
well, that's
days.
fair enough, that's fair
Fair
enough.
enough,
That's fair enough.
No, but they've had the previous, no, never mind.
Well, I think that's fair enough.
If you came in with your plan, and Tom's already said it, and you needed to come in and amend it, would that be a problem if he came in and amended
Well,
it?
I think it's fair what he's saying. I mean, come in, just tell us what you're gonna do in 30 days, and then we'll decide how long we're gonna give you after that. That's fair. I mean, not 30 days, it's gonna
Depending
be,
on the solution.
it's gonna be whatever,
Meeting, whatever.
yeah, it's gonna be not the,
43 days.
it would be the March 4th meeting. I think it's March 4th. Okay, so I need a motion.
Motion.
Okay, seconded by Kathy.
Second,
First,
I
Mike,
guess.
seconded. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 30 days, or the March 4th meeting. Okay, moving right along.
Thank you.
B 106A, AJ Pescara Landscaping? Is that still there, Larry? B 106A?
Yeah, my list is out of order, so,
That's okay, yeah, I know it is.
yeah, they haven't moved everything.
Okay, and now, are they operating the business there, or is that just storage?
Just storage.
As far as I know, storage.
Okay. Okay, and see, we're not gonna talk about cars, we took care of that, that's good. All right, so, any problems with,
Just storage, fine.
okay?
just storage, fine, yeah.
Mike makes a, Mike's first,
How many cars?
35. Mike's seconded by Kathy.
Ryan Miller is-
All those in favor?
Aye.
What's this for?
Unanimous. That's on that,
B106A.
yeah, B 106A, that's permitted, okay? Okay, Ryan Miller is in B, 106B. Is he still there?
Yeah, there's been no changes in B 106.
Okay, now, what does he do there? Is he the same, just storage of equipment?
Yes.
Is he operating a business, or just storage of equipment?
That's just storage and equipment. same,
Okay.
And there's one other guy in there now.
Where?
106B.
Well, hit it when we come.
In B?
What do you got? No, yeah,
That's
no, yeah, B is B1 and B2 now. It's just a small 8-foot temporary wall that we put in between the two guys. They're sharing the space, and the guy is a contractor. It's called Integrity Contractors. It's just storage.
Is that B1, or which one is
B2.
B1 and which one is B2?
That's B2?
Yes. Miller is B1. and-
So are we now at 39 units?
Yeah.
we're now at 39 units?
No, it's one unit, they're just sharing the space.
Okay.
They both do the same.
All right,
One's a contractor, one's a landscape.
so we have let's do this, B106, B1, B2. One is Ryan Miller Storage of Landscape Equipment, and B2 is Integrity Contractors, Contracting Equipment. Any problems?
The only note I had about Ryan Miller was he seemed to have a lot of gasoline, but if we're gonna let the fire department deal with that.
Okay. Okay, and you wanna make a motion, approve it?
I'll make a motion.
Dan
It's
makes a
permitted
motion.
use.
Permitted use, second?
Second.
Kath, go.
Second. Oh, Mike. hit
Mike
me.
seconded, all's in
Beat me
favor?
to it.
Okay,
You were
permitted,
second,
those two are
number one
permitted.
anyway.
B106C, AJ Pescara Landscaping.
Differently.
They're still there, and so these other ones in between, and he's got two ends, is that it?
Yeah, that's actually an outside kind of overhead thing, and he's not even using it, but he's there. He has a right to use it, and
Okay.
it's for storage.
Just storage,
Yes.
okay?
So he has two just storage units, 106A and 106.
Yeah, A and C is actually the same unit. He has that front of the building, plus he has the side, which has got that shed C on it.
Okay. All
The
right.
shed that you're talking about, and I know that I've heard the chair talk about having trucks, he has a few trucks.
Yes.
Will he be parking his trucks underneath that shed area? Can he put under the shed area?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So maybe that will take care, because I know I've been by there and I've saw the amount of trucks he has, and I'm not being prejudiced at all. I think it'll be a good point if we can say to get his trucks underneath there, and that will lighten up on the load.
Yep.
Okay, so, we need a motion on that one, to permit that?
Motion to approve,
Motion approved, seconded, Mike, all in favor? 5-0,
storage only.
storage only, okay.
What one is this? I have it
How about this
last
Neil Clancy Stoneworks is in B107A?
items.
There's no changes in either A or B for
Okay.
B107.
Okay, B107A, he has just storage of his stone working equipment,
Oh, yeah.
dry storage. Any problems with that? We need a motion. Kathy motion,
Sure, motion to approve.
seconded. Dan seconded, all those in favor? 5-0, approved.
You gonna-
Okay.
Are you approving?
B107B, Truly Green Lawns. Now, this is the building that I know has the office space in it.
Yep.
There's two desks for people, he's operating his business there, and that's where we need to decide whether that's a go or not. I go back to the matrix up there, the 441 Main Street, did he have separate businesses out back operating? It looks to me like that's a business park, but,
Yeah,
and I think that's the wrong use for that property.
yeah, that's where I draw the line. Business beyond the
Beyond the
fence.
fence.
So we can come up front to the office, as we had talked about before, but that's my opinion. But
No,
not
I
in
agree.
back.
That's what I think.
Anybody else discussion?
No, I agree
Yeah,
with
I agree
that.
with what Kathy just said.
How about you, Jane, you agree with that?
I do, and I would make a motion.
Okay, make a
Wait,
motion.
wait,
I disagree.
All right, go ahead.
That's okay.
As
You
far
can
as
do-
truly green lawns go, I know they talked about organic material. I would like to just make sure that we all understand that the fire
hear
will be
that?
going in there. The fire will
They're
be
gonna be going
inspecting
through
that
all
bit.
these
Yeah,
anyways.
right.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we know that they're gonna be
That
looking at
doesn't
it.
have anything to do with whether they're fit the mold.
I understand, but I'm just
Okay.
trying to make it verbal.
Okay, so herein lies what I was saying up there, that the board has the powers under the mass law, rather than to do a recall, to do a cease and desist. So I think that here's one which is truly green in B107, B. This should be a cease and desist order by the board.
On the administrative portion of their business only.
That's right, that's right.
The storage is fine.
The storage is fine, but they
That's-
can't,
that's my opinion.
yeah, they can't operate the business, so they got 30 days to vacate the office space, or be subject to a fine of $300 a day for each day that
Can I ask a question?
go ahead.
Along the same line as the number of automobiles,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you just look at the totality of the circumstances here and just say there's a limit on the number of administrative personnel that could function behind the
No,
wall?
well,
Why is it,
Because it's
why
not a
is, why
business
is it
park.
Yeah, it's not a business
synonymous
park.
with that? But Estes Lumber had employees working
It
behind
wasn't
there.
a business
They
park.
had,
They all the people who worked out back were SC Lumber's employees.
I'm not concerned about labels. Look at the substance over the form. The substance was, that was a busy beehive of activity behind there, and they had employees. It wasn't operated by robots or, you know, the invisible man. There were people back there working all the time they were open. So whether or not they, you know, were loading the truck or not, or the guy was standing there with a carbon set of papers, okay, where's your receipt? Okay, I'll go get it. You know, there were employees back there functioning, and I'm sure some of them had a desk or a little file cabinet to do their business.
Yeah.
To say that they didn't is just false,
Yeah, well,
and bad
but-
facts make bad decisions.
Yeah,
I think this
Dan,
board's making
hold
a
on,
bad
hold-
decision
Hold
on
on,
that.
that's okay, you can think what you want. but
Well,
let-
I want to get it on the record,
Okay,
because,
yeah, okay.
because it's going to affect the business.
Okay.
And the
Let me-
property has legal
let-
rights to
okay,
the
yeah.
non-conforming use.
Let me, I'm gonna go up and ask you a
All
question.
right, so let's debate this.
Hold on, I'm gonna ask you a question. You say that it's not any.
I don't think it's an expansion, it's a matter of degree. If you had, if you had 1,000 employees back there with 1,000 desks, I think that
Dan,
you crossed the line.
please. Sawmill operation,
Yeah?
you think that there was a building in there, sheet rock, Wyatt, and 2 desks, and an operation of a business there?
There were men in there working.
I asked, that's not the question. Was there a sheet rock building with 2 desks and people working there?
I don't know if they had 2 desks, they might have had 5 desks in there. I don't have enough facts to answer the question on that.
Right from, Mr. Estes.
How many employees did they have in the sawmill?
Wait a minute, did they have?
Let me rebut.
No, I'm doing that question.
Yeah, you'll do the questions. You give me the cross.
Sheet rock storage and sold. In that building, did they have any sheet rock on the walls and employees, daily employees with desks working out of there with telephones?
I don't know the answer to that, but the people down the street can't see the sheetrock on the inside of the building, Tom.
I don't see how you can justify.
It's irrelevant if they had sheetrock on the inside of the building.
It's expansion.
Is it more
Is
detrimental,
an expansion if
equal,
they
or less
change the
than?
color from blue to white?
Is it more detrimental,
It is,
equal,
really.
Okay.
equal or
Interesting.
less than?
I think it's more
Facts.
detrimental.
That's
okay.
what we need to determine.
Okay.
I think it's irrelevant.
I'm all set to make, we need a motion, and and the motion would be to cease and desist the operation of administrative offices in B 107, B, which is truly green lawn. So who can make a motion?
When's the fine gonna start?
30 days.
March
Yep.
4th?
Yep. Truly green lawn. Who's make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Hopefully no one.
Okay, okay, it's all right. All
Hasn't
right.
been anybody after
Seconded?
2 months.
Seconded, Mike?
Anybody? No?
Jane, second?
No,
No?
don't twist that around,
Okay,
it
I'll make-
dies.
I'll make a second, no, I'll make a second. How about, all those in favor? Oh, discussion, you wanna discuss more? I know you gotta go
I've
now.
said enough.
Okay,
Does anyone
okay.
not know my position?
Let's hustle, okay. All those in favor?
Well, let's be clear.
Yep. Oh, it's a cease and desist the operation of administrative offices in B 107, B. Storage.
Administrative only,
Yep,
storage is
storage is
okay.
okay, that's right,
He's gonna move the desk, you're gonna fine him $300 a day?
yeah. second.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fair.
I think it is, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 2 opposed?
Opposed vehemently.
What about you, Jane? For or opposed?
For what?
For cease and desist of the administrative offices, and it's okay for storage?
Yeah.
You're for it?
Yes.
Okay, 3 to 2. You
Not
didn't-
a super
that's right.
majority.
3 to 2 didn't carry,
Yeah.
okay? What do you wanna do? You wanna vote to allow it?
I get Mr. McDonald's point. There was offices and
Yeah.
desks back there.
Yeah.
Granted, they were all by Estes, but
Yep. But, so you wanna have a business park in there?
I
A
don't know.
better approach is to limit the number of administrative, just like you did with the cars. I think it's a better approach.
Okay. Well,
and then he has discretion as to how many, because it's a matter of degree. If you had one desk in 22 acres, okay, is that an
Well, you see, again,
expansion?
I think you're
But
way
the
out in left
permit
field
was-
here.
No, is that more
application
detrimental
was
than
for
an
storage.
existing
Yeah,
business with all the employees?
Let's go back to
But
the
if you put
basic-
1,000
Wait,
desks
hold-
there, then I
Dan,
agree
Dan,
with you.
You're out of order. Hold on, let me just tell you.
Application, we're here for
What we're talking about is what the board approved. Now, if he came in, his original application, and said that's what he wanna do, I will guarantee you he wouldn't have got it,
Okay.
okay?
I disagree.
So,
because
so
I-
now he comes in, 6 months post haste and says, hey, well, I got these businesses in here, and it's gonna be a business park, and it's not more detrimental, and you'll say it is, it's okay?
I'm not saying it's a business park, I'm saying if he has
Well,
one,
if-
if he has a
if
desk
he's
and a
got-
a file, is it incidental to the storage operation at that site?
No. That is the business right
That-
there.
That's the battleground, is it?
That's the business.
If you
the-
have a
the-
plumbing business in there,
The companies that park,
they don't do the plumbing on site, they go to someone else's site and do the plumbing, their core business is off-site.
I think you ought to read the definition of, in 106.1 and try to stay focused on what the matrix is of, as to what you can have, and what you can't. I don't really, if you guys want a business park there,
I don't agree
care.
with the $300 a day fine.
I
Well,
think
yeah,
you,
but
30 days.
I think you're
But-
mislabeling
but
it, that if
that's
two
what-
desks
I know.
the law
is
says.
a business
It's
park.
actually
Two
45
desks
instead
is a
of
business
54.
park.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's 45 days, all right, so if it's
Essentially.
extended to 45 days
yeah.
in order to move everything
Tom,
administratively.
Tom, if I got two desks in my house, I got a business park?
Yeah.
I guess I got a
Well, no,
business
you're
park.
missing
Why
the
Well, when
complain?
you have 38 rooms filled with
You're
two
missing the
desks, then
point.
that's a business.
You know, the point is, so you're missing the
Right.
point. This isn't what he came before the board for.
It's incidental. We
It's
can't,
not incidental.
we
When-
can't-
When
Back to what
you've
we're
got
reading.
another
we
business coming in
cannot
there.
delineate every minute detail. We
Yes, we
can't
can.
put this into minutia on what
What
you
is
can and can't
what
do.
what is before us right now? We gotta get regrouped.
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
before
well,
us?
it's-
What is
it's-
before? Is it storage? Is it business? What are we,
Yeah, it's storage. So what I'm saying is that we gotta keep it storage, but if you don't wanna do it, I don't care. But you know what? At 10:30, I think I'm with Jane. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you
This is
guys over this,
ridiculous.
because it's absolutely absurd. You know, you know, we've got an application here. We've got what he said he was gonna do. He didn't do what he's gonna do.
Correct.
And you guys wanna sit here and argue. I tell you what, why don't someone else want to meet and I'll go home? I got about 50 hours in this thing, and I'll tell you, I've had it, right up to here.
Let's just
Okay,
put it-
so if
let's
you
put it-
guys wanna do it, you run the meeting and I'll take off,
I'm not running nothing.
okay? Cause I'm not gonna play this game anymore,
That's right.
Let's just vote on it.
okay?
Let's vote on it.
I'm not playing the game.
We'll vote on
It's, you know, this is absurd. You know, this isn't the first time I've ever done zoning, and, you know, this is not what was approved. I would not have voted for it like the way it is now. And, I don't think it's fair to the people that live next door to it. It's not fair to the town. It's not fair to have businesses in there and have a business park when there wasn't a business park there. You can say equal to, and the greater of the sum of the apples and the oranges, and it all equals the same. That's beside the point. The point is, there were no businesses behind that gate. That's not what he came in and told us he was gonna do it. And he went right down there and he started putting businesses in there. And to me, that's a business park. So if you guys wanna approve it, go ahead. I'm not gonna be a party of it. It's as simple as that. So, I tell you what, I think maybe I'll just pack up and go home. I'm not gonna fool all this stuff.
All right, so are we taking a vote, or what are we doing?
No, whatever you wanna do, make a motion. I'm just not gonna fool around. I'm not playing the games anymore.
Right.
What
As
are
simple as that.
Tom, what are the games?
The games is your game. I'm not playing your game.
What's my game?
I don't know what it is, but I'm not playing it. As simple as that.
We all have our opinions.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
can't-
playing your game,
That's the
Dan.
point.
What's
We
my
all have our
game?
opinion, we
Not
debate.
playing.
That's what we're doing.
Okay,
I
Make a
didn't,
motion.
I didn't
You
sit
have
here
your
saying he could
opinion,
have a
that's
business
your
park.
opinion, we
Make
all
a
have our own
motion.
opinion.
Okay, can I
I
just say
made
what I
my
have
motion.
written down?
yeah.
For the record,
Okay,
I didn't say
truly-
he could have a
for
business
truly
park.
doing it
Yes, you did.
modular.
We're arguing over two desks.
We're talking for storage only,
Yeah,
okay? A cease and desist order on the business part.
yeah.
Okay, I have written down 30 days to vacate office space by March 4th.
Right, which
No,
is
no.
actually about 45
Let
days.
me tell you one other thing, and I think you should know
Right,
this.
between now and March 4th is
Your attorney
45
should know
days.
this. We were ready to pull the permit on the whole project 2 months ago, when his then attorney said, we've got another proposal to eliminate these businesses in the back and pull their office space out front and to eliminate that. That's why we came down and we came up with the second 2014-12 was reflective on that. Now, all of a sudden, we're back talking about the first one, but that's not what we talked about. we would have probably, I mean, we had 4 votes that night to pull the permit and just shut it right down completely. And there was a compromise being made, and then you pulled the rug out of the compromise by saying you don't want to do that anymore, and now we're back to, you know, we got an office park down
I
there.
think we're making progress evaluating each business
I
in
think
there,
we are
Tom.
too.
I think we're making
Make a
progress.
motion, I'm not gonna fool
Okay, so
around.
can I finish, please?
Go ahead.
All right, so 45 days to vacate the office space, okay? It's gonna be $300 a day after March 4th.
Yep.
Okay, and
Yep.
right now I have that, Kathy, you motion, Tom Wakefield seconded, and I have a 3-2. And
That was on
Wood
30,
and
that was 30
McDonald-
days on a 3-2 one.
Well, but what we were talking about is 30 days from, today is the 21st, right?
yeah.
So 30 days would be the 21st of February,
Yeah.
but we were saying by our next meeting
Yeah,
in
but
March.
that's not what you said, that's not the 32, 32 was 30 days. Now, if you want, someone wants to make a motion that says 45 days or till March 4th, then someone has to make that motion.
All right, so then we're gonna amend it to 45 days.
Or to March 4th. March 4th, their date would be
Whatever,
better.
how many
right?
days,
Oh,
that
March
is,
4th.
43 or
March 4th.
48, whatever the amount of days.
Storage is okay, administrative office is out by March 4th,
That one I second.
okay?
Yes.
Now,
So who, you motion that one, Tom?
yeah, and seconded by Mike, all those in favor?
Aye.
Jane?
No, I'm done.
You abstain?
I'm opposed.
And Bill,
Bill?
What's that?
She's
Can you
abstaining?
put your hands up if you want this, please?
I'm opposed. Bill, you're up. She
You're up.
abstains. You're
Okay.
Put
voting.
your hand
Your
up.
vote.
I'm
What am I-
opposed.
What am I voting on?
On the-
45
on the-
days.
on
Just
the-
read it again.
45 days for them to vacate?
Yeah, yeah.
Vacate the
Administrative
administrative
only.
Yeah,
function.
yeah,
Okay.
the administrator's out,
And as far as moving it to the front of the building, that's not an option?
not an option.
Okay,
So, yeah, okay.
45 days.
Well, March 4th,
March
Well, whatever,
4th,
March
whatever, how
4
many
to
days
1.
it-
So who's,
With Bill voted, 4 to 1.
get up my
Okay, now,
calendar.
going down to, let's see, March
Tom,
4.
Tom, we're making progress.
Yeah, I'm sick of you, I'm
You
just
want
sick of your
that, pal?
bullshit.
Come on,
Yeah,
Tom.
baloney.
All right,
Get it your
B
way.
108, B 108, Peter Noyes Boat Storage, is that inside or outside?
Both.
And that's the building way down the end, it's open on the end, that you're proposing to close in?
Yes.
When do you plan on closing that in?
As soon as the Conservation Commission gives me the okay. And, you know, I'd be willing to limit that to like 10 boats. There'll be no more boats coming on site.
Well,
Well-
here again, I go back to the matrix. Do you see any boat storage, outside boat storage? I don't, they had outside storage of lumber, but I don't see any outside storage of boats.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you again, I'm not against boat storage, I'm not against boats, but,
I think it has to be indoor boat.
I think it
yeah.
has to be indoor too.
yeah.
I think if I were a boat owner, I'd want it indoors anyway.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
my-
think it, I
my
don't think
opinion,
that property in a residential zone, non-conforming
Right.
use, is set up to have outside storage of boats, and there's other stuff down, when you get down a little longer, so, but
Discussion?
we haven't made a motion yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, you're welcome to voice your
Yeah,
opinion
right,
now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's no more detrimental. Is it more of an eyesore to look at a boat or a pile of lumber? I think it's, it doesn't matter. It's not an issue. And it's far in the back of the property. It's out of sight, out of mind.
You can see it from the street.
You can see it from the street.
If
yes.
you get your binoculars
No,
and you
no,
really,
no,
and
no,
you
no.
look
No,
through the
no.
blinds and you wanna take a peek at it, you
No.
can find it.
There's
But-
like,
but
there's-
if you're driving by,
There's 3 out there.
there's like 4 or 5 red boats sitting
I
there.
invite you all to come down and look at them and nicely.
Listen, Eric, I'm telling you, there's no one in this building that loves boats better than me. I just built one. I'm a boater.
Are we in discussion?
it's no harm, no foul.
The thing that you gotta come back on is right there on the wall, 441 Main didn't have boat storage. And we gotta, I think that we gotta, it's incumbent upon the board to protect the neighbors. They didn't have boat storage.
Inside
Are
is
we-
fine.
But
Are we in
it's incumbent on us to
discussion?
have a finding whether or not it's
If
less
we're in
detrimental.
discussion, and
Hold
Mr.
on.
Harper just stated that it's gonna be 10 boats on the property, and he's gonna cover them, can we somehow make the motion based on that Mr. Harper has a period of time to get the storage facility up, to put the boats in and make it interior storage of boats?
Well, no, because see, I think at that, see, what happened.
You wanna make it so, we're
No,
talking about
no,
outside,
you know, let me tell you, the size boats that they have
Okay.
out there is gonna require a very large building. And I doubt that the type of boats that are there would recoup any money to pay for a building the size it would take to, I've been boating since I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Right, okay, I get you, I
And
got
I've
you.
paid boating
Okay,
fees.
can I ask council?
Just for outside storage is probably
But
$1,200.
Can I ask the council a question? I can't. Can I ask the council a
all
question? Is the purpose of you now saying 10 boats is because you have leases with those boats and you have to keep them there for a period of time? Once that, let's say spring rolls around, those 10 boats are no longer gonna be there.
If-
Now, you're not gonna have boat storage anymore on the outside, so that covers you with your lease, is what I'm saying.
They're not here as boats. It's another kind of lease too.
The intent is, we're putting in a notice of intent to the Conservation Commission. Those boats have temporarily been moved up into the paved area.
Right.
Once we get through our notice of intent, they'll be moving back down to where they were in a neat, organized area if it's approved. If it's not approved, then I've gotta find something to do with the boats. So it's kind of all hinging on the Conservation Commission.
Well,
They're not easy things to move.
well, yeah, but let me ask you a question, Eric.
Yeah.
Now, the night that you came in here and told us what you wanted to do, and we
Yeah.
gave you the permit, when did you ever, that night, mention you were gonna put boat storage there?
We just talked about storage.
We talked about carpenter and contractor storage. I mean, unless those boats, they're doing work,
This-
contractor work.
The whole Estes.
How did that happen?
The whole Estes property, that whole 15 acres of pavement was used to store lumber. I mean, I have a picture of it from one
Eric,
side to the other.
I'm not talking about lumber. I'm saying that you came before the board. I have it in the minutes. I've read it twice tonight, in the minutes. You said that this was gonna be storage of carpenter and contractor equipment.
Right.
So,
The permit itself doesn't limit it.
what's that?
The permit itself doesn't have any limitation of
Where,
what is stored on
where does it
site.
say boats?
Doesn't prohibit it
Where
either.
does it say storage?
If he said he wouldn't have got it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, you had to go with what you said. You come in and said, and we gave you all kinds of leeway. I mean, everyone else that came in before you had to come back, every single one of them. That's when it'd be a motion night. All these guys are gonna have to come in and get permits, like everyone else in town. I mean, you go down, the last building down there, going into Georgetown on the right, every one of those, other than the change of exact, has to come back for a special permit. That's what's gonna have to
Right,
happen.
let's
in
just
this
go
one.
back to this, let's stick to this.
Okay, all right, so anyways, what are we gonna do for motion? Let's go. On the votes.
The motion, I can't vote anyway, but
No, you gonna abstain?
Motion to allow boat storage indoors.
What are you gonna do?
you can abstain.
You wanna make a motion?
Just made a motion.
What do you want, you make a motion? What is the
I'll
motion?
make a motion
Jane said she'll vote.
to allow boat storage as a permitted use.
Outside boat
Indoors.
storage. No, this is outside. On this one here, Peter Noyes has outside. B 108 is outside. What do you say about that?
I think it's permitted within a degree.
No, what do you wanna do? You make a motion. What's your motion?
Make a motion that the existing boats that are stored there are within the permitted right of the special permit.
We need a second. No seconding,
All right.
okay? How about another motion? You wanna make a motion? You wanna make a
Motion
motion?
indoor boat storage.
Right.
Okay,
I think that's where I'm.
all right.
Either take
Then,
that.
and B 108, there's a motion with Mike to have inside boat storage only, seconded by Kathy. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-1.
You said no?
I'll go along with it, because you shut the other one down, so you might as well get something out of
So,
it.
4-1,
I'll go with the inside boat
so
storage.
it's 5.
5-1, 5-0 inside. Okay, so now we have to say that, now we're gonna have to do on B 108, no.
Did that.
Now, Eric, I want you to understand, that we're really trying to work with you here on a cease and desist
Yes.
versus recall.
Yes.
Did you understand what I was trying to tell you? By cease and desist allows you to get rid of it, but it doesn't shut you down. If we were to recall it, which is what we could do, then you're 2 years out. So, you know, I don't want you to think that we're trying to, this is a regulatory exercise that we have to go through. So I think that we should have a cease and desist, and we'll do the same thing for the March 4th regarding the outside vault storage. And the $300, that is regulatory language, which is in the law. So that's what that's in there for. And that would be, as the March 4th meeting, those votes need to come out, and I need a second.
Second.
Second, Jane, discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
4 to 1. Okay. 109A, Larry, is Robert T. LeBlanc still there, electrical contractor?
Yes.
Yes,
And is he running his business there, or is he just storing equipment there?
just storing equipment.
Okay,
Motion to approve storage only.
storage only, motion seconded,
Second.
Mike, discussion,
No.
all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, permitted use.
All of those tenants in that building are just doing storage, if you wanna simplify things.
Baldini, Baldini
Yeah.
Chase,
Rick
HVAC?
Greenwood, and then there's two new tenants, one in D, which is a Paul Chisholm, who's storing boats inside. And E is Dave Woodshaw.
Henshaw.
Henshaw?
Henshaw.
And that's storage.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's do it that way, that's a good idea, thank you. B, thank you, Larry, that's a good idea.
Well, quick question,
Go ahead.
before we do that. B 109C, Rick Greenwood, vehicles, boats, and furniture storage, are those indoor?
Yeah, those are all in.
Yeah,
right?
that's what he said, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
he said about the other ones, I
Yeah,
didn't know.
okay, so, B, 109B, Baldini Chase HVAC, B, oh, excuse me, start with A, which is LeBlanc,
We did that one.
okay, we did that, okay, B, C, and D, and that would be Baldini Chase HVAC, Rick Greenwood Vehicles, and Paul Chisholm is a,
E is the painter, David Henshaw, that's all.
yeah, and then David Henshaw, the painter. There's all storage, okay? So we need a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve storage only.
Seconded by
Seconded.
Dan. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got that. Okay, now, B, 110. 110 towing.
110 towing?
What do you think of that, Jane? 110 towing.
I'll-
And we-
I'll-
and
I'll
we have,
talk-
we have some complaints
We-
about
We have
that
several
particular.
complaints.
Oh, they're still on.
110 towing has been bringing vehicles in after 7 o'clock if they go out on a call. And so anyways, what's your pleasure, guys?
Discussion or no
Are
discussion?
they bringing vehicles
okay.
that they're towing back there, or are they bringing their own vehicles?
They bring vehicles
So
to
it's
the
fi-
town.
If you go back
Why are they
to,
bringing vehicles they're towing back there?
That's their company. They need to store them somewhere, that's where they store them.
if you go back to what we talked about, more detrimental, less than or equal to.
Yeah.
Estes had no towing in there. Estes had no, they did have repairing of vehicles, their own vehicles. They did not tow vehicles in or out of that property. They didn't have, the neighbors have been complaining about flashing lights, et cetera, et cetera. I think that is more detrimental to that property.
And my point on that is that, the permit says that, you know, they have certain hours of operation with the exception of an occasional emergency. I think that 110 towing is emergency in nature. That's their business. They are emergency regardless. So I feel like at least probably 50% of their towing happens after hours anyway, so that's emergency in nature, not an occasional plumber who has to run in and get a pipe, that kind of thing. That's my,
But they're not, they shouldn't be storing towed vehicles.
well,
Outside.
we're allowing vehicle storage inside.
You watch.
Are they storing them inside?
I'm not putting it.
But I don't think the towing business, yeah, no, I'm not,
I'm all done.
Oh, yeah.
I did too much work today.
no, it's too much, I think. For the neighbors mostly, that's my opinion.
So
But there-
someone needs to make a motion, or?
I wanted to ask you a question. Does that towing operation have another location?
Yes,
Yes, this is not their business location.
there you go. I have it right here.
And as long as I've been there, I've never seen anybody there. And that's been several months, I've never seen anybody there.
They have a storage of towed motor vehicle licenses for 53 White Street in Haverhill, and they have a business certificate listing their address at.
Do they store the cars indoors or outdoors?
Yeah. Indoors or outdoors, do they store the vehicles?
Well, they have, both. Actually, they have one truck outside and they have, a couple inside. That's about all they can do.
Not
That's
their
all the
own
space they
vehicles, the
have.
vehicles they're towing, are they storing those inside or outside?
Towing?
If they go out and tow someone at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, are they bringing that back there and storing it inside or outside?
I've never seen them tow anything in or out.
Well, I think that, where this comes from is that there have been complaints from the neighbors
Yeah,
that they're getting people are coming in tow at all hours of the night.
I
And the
understand that,
flashlight.
I understand that.
So that's what we're trying to get at, so,
I think, I can ask him and find out what's going on, I can report back to you. But I haven't seen any activity there at all, they're very quiet.
I think the real issue with the neighbors is after hours.
Right.
So after 7 PM,
No, there's,
right,
I understand.
yeah.
I'll,
I think it's more basic than that, though.
Hold on.
I think that goes right back to what I'm saying about an expansion of
Well, I'm-
the use.
I've been to the property, I've gone through the property, and I try to be the fairest person in the world. I looked through the windows of that garage, and I saw lifts in that garage. Now, I don't know if he's doing his own personal work in there, or what have you, but that is...
That's what he's using that,
Okay,
that's what he uses that for.
in my eyes,
Maintenance, his maintenance for his stuff.
Estes Lumber did mechanics out of that garage, they did it.
Yeah.
But is 110 towing, using that facility to fix cars, haul them in and out, or whatever?
No.
Let me just finish, and what the point that I'm trying to make is, the neighbors have complained at least 4 to 5 times to the police department, and they've said they've seen lights going on in the vehicles, and listen, we don't know if it's true or not, you know what I'm trying to say? But all I'm saying is, how do we control 110 towing from going in and out in the middle of the night? You're not gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be fair to the neighbors, fair to you, fair to the town. If he was using it for storage facility, why was there a lift in there? That's all I'm saying. And I saw the lift myself.
He is doing maintenance on his equipment, on
Okay.
his trucks.
Okay.
That's the purpose of, that's what that building has always been used for. That's the purpose of, actually, both those buildings there have been used for nothing but doing maintenance on vehicles.
And like I said, I'm gonna be,
Who installed the lifts?
That is it's not it's one of these lifts you just bring in, I guess, and just put in place.
All right,
It's
so,
not-
Freestanding lift?
It's freestanding.
okay, so Estes didn't have the lift already, and you were just utilizing it that way. They brought in their own equipment to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know what I think? I think
I'm
that it's,
thinking.
I think that is not an allowed use on that property.
the permit in front of us is for storage.
Yeah, I don't think that that's an allowed use
For
for that
storage.
property, and I think it should be moved by March 4th.
So are you
Are you making a
suggesting,
motion, or?
Yeah.
you suggesting that
that's
they
my motion, yeah.
remove the lifts, or just
No,
not
remove the company.
operate?
The company shouldn't be operating there, because they tow vehicles in there, and I don't, I mean, Dan thinks that it's okay to have all these cars stood around there, but I'm gonna go back, I don't believe
Did you
that.
hear me at the last meeting say they couldn't have 24-hour towing?
Yeah,
Did you miss that
I don't-
segment?
I don't believe that,
I think you misquoted me, Tom.
that Estes Lumber had, I think is a stretch, a very, very hard stretch to even begin to think that you could put a tow company in there, towing vehicles.
And you know something, most of these complaints have come through on this 110 towing, so I think it would be, and I'm not trying to tell the board what to do, but I think it'd be Mr. Harper's best interest to get them out of there in a good time frame, because it's gonna cause him headaches down the road, that's how I see it.
Well, we've been talking about this since October, so this isn't a surprise.
What's the,
No,
what's
but-
the situation with the lease?
Well,
Is it long-term?
I don't know, it's not, that's
Is the
not,
lease
that's not the
month to
board's,
month?
that's not, that has nothing to do with the
That's not
board.
our
I mean, the
concern.
board, we're here for zoning, not leases, and it shouldn't have been in there. I just,
Yeah,
don't think it
but-
should.
It's just storing a vehicle in there, and they work
Oh,
on their
it's
own
the
vehicle, they
lights
store
on
it.
coming
It's
in and
not-
out.
no,
You can enter an
trucks.
order against other things
Listen,
that they're doing.
back and forth.
Listen, they're bringing in vehicles on a flatbed with lights going on all hours of the night.
That's what the complaint is, I understand that.
Well,
But then again, the place is lit up like Fenway Park.
well, that's gonna change, but that's okay. You know, we're gonna go back to where it was, just exactly the way he had it. But-
So what was the motion you made?
Well, the motion is that,
Can't have a tow truck company
you
there.
can't have that tow truck there, and that would be a cease and desist, and it'd be removed by March 1st, or subject to the $300 a day fine.
And
March
Tom-
4th.
And Tom, I agree with you, that's an expansion of use. I said that at the last meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
so you wanna second the motion?
I'll second your motion.
Okay, discussion,
Tow truck
all those in
business,
favor?
a little bit of a stretch.
Aye.
You opposed? Whatever, you can.
Sorta.
make a Okay, well,
Gee, someone,
we got
It's done.
4-1, we got a 4-1,
Who
and
voted no?
Kathy,
Only because I would have done
Okay.
it differently.
that's okay.
Not that I didn't agree with the
All right,
premise.
you could've made the motion, you didn't. Okay. B111 is ARE Auto Vehicle Storage. Is that inside storage, Larry?
Yes.
And how many cars, do you know?
I don't know. Do you know, Eric?
Are those
I think you
antique
can only
cars?
fit about 3 inside, 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, but like, that's,
Are those antique cars, or?
no. No, they're cars that, you know, he's a business owner in Groveland. It's down on 97, and he puts his overflow cars in that building.
But they're inside,
Yeah, they're inside.
behind the door.
They're inside, and he has some plow trucks outside, because he does plowing for the town and other towns.
Well, you
Yes.
didn't put that down. All we got is vehicle storage. Doesn't mention anything about
Outside storage.
outside storage or tow trucks.
So he does have some plow trucks that he uses to plow for the town, and that would
But he
be,
uses it. Well, that'll fall under his limit in parking, outdoor parking, so we'll have to account for
Yep,
that, right?
that'll be part of the 35. All right. I need a motion on B111 ARE Auto Vehicle Storage, inside.
Seconded.
Okay, second by Dan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that goes past.
Oh,
B112 is SE Business Associate Storage. That's your storage, private storage? They're still there?
yes, but since then, there's some cars being stored in there by private parties. There's a RV in there that's being stored by a private party, and there's a boat in there that's being stored by a private party.
But inside.
Inside
All
storage?
inside. All inside. It's, let's see, building materials, tools, vehicles, meals.
Okay.
So we're approving inside storage for B112?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Now, I just thought of something. In the 35 cars, are you saying, as the board thinks that if Mr. Harper had several people that wanted to store RV, i.e., I have one myself stored in New Hampshire, I have a bus, that would be an allowed use?
An automobile.
Would that be part of the 35 cars?
That's not how I envisioned it. I envisioned more cars or
Also
trucks.
cars, not
Okay, all
recreation
right. I
vehicles.
just wanted to run
But,
it.
No, that's a good question.
Figured 35 registered vehicles.
Yeah,
Some are
okay.
bigger than
Said
others.
that.
it's not the front door. B102.
B113A is various individual boat and auto storage. Is that inside?
B102.
I'm sorry,
B113A.
yeah, I'm sorry, I messed up.
Not the first time.
All right, so what's the matter?
We got building B112 mixed up with building B1. what's the other one?
13.
Can't read.
113.
113A?
It's in 112.
So is 112 still being used by you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Building
just
materials?
regular materials?
Building materials for the project or what have
So
you?
what you told us before was about 113, not 112?
Correct.
Right. you
All right,
swapped the
so,
numbers.
so
Oh,
we-
wait a minute, I don't think- was it about 113?
Was
or
about
it
113A, it says various
It was
boats and
about
auto storage.
113A, yes,
Both buildings are being used for storage, period, anyway.
yes.
But the cars and the RV are in B113.
A,
Correct.
all right.
Okay.
So,
Motion to
we need to
approve.
amend the prior motion to say B113A and not B112. You got that? Okay, a second on that?
Second.
And all those in favor?
Hi.
Okay. Now we'll do B113A, which is the various individual boat and auto inside storage. Motion?
Motion to approve B1112, Estes Business Association storage.
No, we
inside.
already did that.
113A.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Okay.
pardon me. See, now I'm mixed
Yep,
up.
that's okay. Yep,
Various individual boats and
Yep.
auto storage.
seconded,
Sorry,
seconded by Mike?
second.
Yeah, second.
Okay, seconded by Mike. Kathy first, Mike, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay, that one's okay.
sorry about that.
B113B, Larry, I have that vacant,
Correct,
okay? How about C, I got that vacant,
correct.
okay. Now, I've got B114, Back River Development Company. They have storage of construction equipment and vehicles.
What did I have on note?
That's still correct?
Yep.
That's still correct.
That's correct? That's inside storage?
Yes.
Now, is he operating his business there? Is any office space there? Or what's he, because I see he's off and up here, okay. We need a motion on that then.
Just storage?
Storage.
Motion for just storage?
Storage, seconded?
Uh,
Kathy seconded?
No.
No?
I'm not seconding. I had a
I'll second it.
Seconded, Dan?
Second it.
All those in favor?
You have a question?
You got a
I
question?
had a question.
Go ahead, what's your
My
question?
note on that was that they had like propane and gas and stuff in there, so that would be per the fire department. 'cause they
Well,
had
we're gonna
propane.
cover that.
Okay,
at
but
the end.
then
all
I
these go
approve
back and
storage
forth, yeah.
only,
Yep,
yes,
storage
storage
okay.
only, sorry.
5-0, storage only.
5-0.
B115 is the B&B Sprinkler Business Office.
Are you looking for discussion?
Yeah, what do you wanna do? I mean,
Aye.
you know what I wanna do.
They have
Okay.
office?
The building
Sign.
that's back there is, I'm gonna say it's a very small building. I'm gonna say he probably could fit 3 employees in that building. Is that more detrimental, less than, or equal to what Estes did? Did Estes have B&B Sprinkler Company there? No. Is it noisier than Estes? No. Did they have people in that building at one time? Yes, because that's where they used to sign the slips. So, if the guy has outside stores of vehicles? No. A lot of vehicles? No. I mean, that's what we have to look at, I think.
My issue with that was that they were doing, I hear what you're saying about Estes and all of that, but
Right on that.
if we're talking about business behind the fence, I think that clearly violates behind the fence.
Consistent.
Right, but the other problem I have there is that they have their phone lines there, they got a big sign there. I think,
Sign's gone.
okay, but there was a sign, right? Okay, so I didn't, okay. So as long as the sign is gone, that's good, but, because that was one of my notes here, but I don't agree with the administrative stuff beyond the fence, that's my stance.
Can they move them out front? They,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And then they use that as storage?
They
Fine
have
by
one,
me.
they have a storage already, but.
Yeah,
there's already
but
storage.
it's the administrative behind the fence. If they wanna come up into the building, I don't have a problem with that.
Same thing as the other ones, March 4th.
That's B 115, cease and desist,
Administrative duties only.
administrative duties, March 4th, $300 fine, same language, Julie.
They had phone lines
Yep,
hooked up in there.
motion would be, Kathy made the motion, seconded, Mike, all those in favor?
Aye.
One
Wait a
opposed?
minute, say again?
Opposed.
Who motion?
Kathy made the motion, Mike seconded, 4-1. Now,
I always apologize.
the way I see this, Larry, is that covers all the buildings out back so far. Did we miss anything? I took
Not that I know of.
I took it off from your list.
No.
Okay, now, here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna say, I think we gotta address the front building, and all the other, I think that the front building is vacant now, and we need to see, applications, special permit applications for prospective, tenants. And then we need special permits for the existing tenants out back, because somehow we're gonna have to go through and when they come to the board for the special permit, then the fire department will be notified, and they can talk about all the issues that we need to talk about, i.e. gasoline storage, flammable liquids, et cetera, et cetera. It'll be a
Do
public
we-
hearing.
Do we have to burden each one of these companies
Well,
with the cost?
Yeah, you do, and I'll tell you, it's one of those deals that the first time out, it's a one-shot deal. After that, they rent it to the same type of thing. You wanna do boat storage and same, then it's that, give us a letter. But somewhere along the line, when you start anything, you gotta.
No, I'm
start
okay
the
with
process.
making,
Yeah.
with having to go through the process.
Well, you
I'm
s-
just not okay with having them burdened with, now they're paying
Well,
storage, and
I-
now they're paying for permits they gotta
Yeah.
go through, and they got
Well,
applications, and.
You know, the problem is.
The cost of doing business.
There's a cost of advertising. We've gone through that.
Right.
That's how we eliminated it. Originally, there was, even if you, same was coming back, and then we eliminated that a year or so ago and said, just send us a letter, and we'll give you the conditions of approval. But see, there's no conditions.
But-
Mhm.
Those were for businesses, okay?
Yeah.
We've just said that they can't have their business behind, they can have storage only.
Well, then
And I
then
think making
maybe
them
you're
do,
then.
right, maybe, and I think making them do an application for
Yep.
storage is silly.
You're probably right.
But in the front, where
Yep.
there actually are gonna be, you know,
Business.
businesses,
Yep, yep,
offices, that
yep.
kind of thing, those need to come here.
Okay.
But I think to make all 38 come in
Yep.
for a storage
Okay.
is,
if
Good
you made,
idea.
if
Crazy.
you made someone behind the fence come in before us, they're coming in for business. You just said there's no
Right.
businesses
No
back
numbers
there.
allowed, okay, good.
that's
No,
what I'm
no,
saying,
No,
that's
I agree.
absurd. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Want to make a motion?
I make a motion that,
Okay, the
that's
motion is
absurd.
that,
Before-
what's the number, what's that building out front? What's that?
B101.
B101.
That any tenant, you know, any potential
All
businesses.
tenants require a special permit.
Is that the one
For the
referred to as
front
the
building.
retail business?
Yeah.
The front
Retail
building.
office.
And there's only one of them.
We just,
It's
Go
a
ahead.
big
we
building.
just went through this whole list.
Yeah, but,
We went through this whole list. We just went through it.
correct.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many square feet does this
We haven't
take?
co- we haven't
But
talked-
what I'm saying
we'll
is,
talk
all
about
right,
that. We're gonna talk about that, that's my next thing. I got it on my list.
how many-
So we've got the B101 is, all the tenants require a special permit, okay, before the ZBA. Now, the next item on this is exactly what I got up there on the first one up there, says we need to know, the application that was approved was for 57,066. That's what was approved.
Very good.
You're gonna do the permit first, you do the
Oh,
permit.
I'm sorry, okay,
You have a
Ca-
motion.
Ca-
I made the
Kathy made a
motion.
motion, I thought we did, I'm sorry, Kathy made a motion, Jane seconded. All those in
The
favor?
discussion is, the first one would be permitted, and then after that, if
If
it
the
was the
same-
same use,
same- yeah.
it'd be what we talked about before on the
All
transfer.
they're gonna do is they're gonna write a letter, we got the same thing going in, and then they give us a thing, and we'll send them a copy of the condition of approval.
but in the front building only.
Only, that's right.
And storage only in the back
We got that.
beyond the fence,
We got that,
right,
that's right.
so.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0 on that one, okay. Now, relative to the square foot, the square foot allowed was,
56,
57,066. Now, that was number 7 in the special permit that was, done on March 7th. No, I'm sorry, March 5th. So what are we gonna do about that? We know that there's more.
Right, and the reason why I have trouble with the outdoor storage is because of this square footage problem. Because it was at 57, now it's at 69, but then if you add outdoor storage, it becomes more and more and more and
That's
more. I think that's where the line is for me. That's why the indoor is better than the outdoor, because the outdoor just now expands your square footage. So just to clarify where I'm coming from on like,
And the
difference.
problem I have is like,
I don't understand that.
Meaning,
This is the square footage that's under the roof.
no, I understand that, but I was going back to the point where we were talking about indoor versus outdoor. So let's say we give you a permit for X amount of square feet, right? But that's interior, because those are your buildings, right? So, but if you're doing outdoor, that now adds to your square footage of storage. So this is where my line is, that, you see where I'm going with that?
But aren't we just doing parking outdoors, and is that the?
Well,
Now
I
we are.
understand,
Now we are.
but I wanted to clarify why I was,
Just saying, if I want to store something outside, you'd want me to come back in front of the board?
no,
No,
I'm just clarifying what I was saying.
Square
I don't want
foot.
you to store anything else.
Square foot of use of the property
That's why
would
my-
include the outside storage of,
Right.
which wasn't there before.
Right.
That's what she's saying.
But-
You got the buildings, square foot, but then you got all these cars that are gonna stay overnight, so that, you're talking about that square foot that's utilized would be part of a square footage.
That's why I was against the outdoor storage, that's all, I was just clarifying my position.
What am I gonna do with it?
um,
I gotta maintain it.
Well, you know.
No, I
here
understand,
again,
so you're gonna get a
see-
number that you can do the storage, but
Yeah.
where I had a problem with the unlimited storage outside was because of this total square footage that we're actually going to
Yeah,
approve.
I mean, right now.
Because you get a square footage,
your
and then
approval-
35 cars, and then
You-
that, after
You
that.
gave up the application, which I had all lined up in the second one, 2014 -12, you gave that up. So now you're back to 2014-4. That approval is for 57,666 square foot of existing building.
Chair, can I talk for a second?
Hold on a second, you are, wait a minute. So, you know, what do? You know, the application had 69, you gave it up, but, so, you've gotta eliminate, what's your math? 69, take away about 12,000 square foot of space. How you gonna propose to eliminate that?
Well, if we're prepared to make other changes, isn't that a clerical error that you'd be correcting?
I don't know.
I think you submitted the revised plan, I mean, they did, I mean, I think,
Question.
It was an error, and those buildings were
Let me
in
ask
existence.
a simple question I just wanted to ask.
is
Go
the,
ahead.
li-
How many square feet did we just approve? How many,
45,710.
there's 45,710
The
square.
ones that we went over with that are occupied add up to 40.
Yeah, but what about the vacant ones, Larry? That doesn't count.
If you would add up
What's the
the,
difference? That would, the occupied ones are 45,710.
right now, the occupied ones, how much are the vacant
Yeah,
ones?
John, what's
Well, if you
okay.
subtract out that from 69,980, which I can't do because I can't see.
why don't we just accept the real,
Well-
reality
That's-
plan?
I mean,
Well,
Right, I think this is what I was trying to say before, is when you start a development project, you think it's going to be X, Y, Z. It
We talked
changes, it morphs, because no development project ends the way you think it's
I
gonna start.
understand, I've been through that.
So, you come to the board for a revision, that's what I suggested, I think, at that meeting. And so, that was what that revised plan was, in this list
Yep.
in November, to say, okay, now we went out and actually measured the buildings, here's what they really are,
Yeah, now,
instead of conceptual.
okay, now.
So right now-
So are you talking, Larry, the total building that are revised, if we were discussing, would be 69,880 square feet?
Yes,
Okay.
that includes buildings.
All of,
105.
that.
105, now, if
That-
105, if we took 5 feet off of 105,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
It would be
Don't
less.
give me your idea. You
I understand, okay.
gotta mark.
Okay,
No,
now, wait a
tell
minute,
'em.
no,
Go
wait,
ahead.
wait, let me just run this by you. What I need to know, you know, we're gonna do a revised, we're gonna give you a revised, special permit, okay? But I need a Mylar. This needs to be done in a Mylar form that will be recorded, because the other one that we had, they wouldn't record it. So that's what I said when we first started the meeting, was that when the lawyer said that.
Shonda to do one that's drawn up for
Yeah, that,
recording purposes.
but we gotta have it, it has to be with the building in compliance.
Can I just, Chair, can I talk one more time?
Go
I
ahead.
didn't get answered what I want to answer.
Okay.
So we just went and spent hours approving this piece of
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
Okay? So we approved it. So we have to approve the square footage for this, am I correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So what's the number? I'm trying
I
to
just
find the
told you.
number. That's all I want
No,
to
I
know.
just told-
Vacant and
Yeah,
total
I got it, I
number.
told you, 69,880.
Okay,
Can I-
so it's
can-
simple.
Yeah, but
We
can I,
approved it,
can I talk on that point?
No. we
The
approved
permit, and I
uses.
have it in my hand here,
I got you.
Footage.
Hold on, Dan, I mean,
under
Bill.
7 says maximum square footage of building area limited to 57,066 square feet, existing buildings as of March 5th, 2014.
correct.
What I don't see is that, I mean, we didn't talk about the maximum amount of storage permitted in the lumber yard, the yard itself. I think we missed the boat on that. You know, number 4, it says parking, plenty of parking spaces in rear of the building. I mean, that's about as vague as you could get,
Well,
plenty of
you
parking.
know, the whole thing, Dan, you're right, what happened was.
So what does that mean?
We gave, and this is what I'm trying to, I don't think that Mr. Harper realized the latitude that this board gave you when we gave you the permit. And what did you do? Immediately, you went out, got 110 towing, boat storage, put lights in everywhere, put a gate down the other side, didn't put a gate across the front, lighting, I mean, you did everything to tick everyone off. And we gave you a chance to run the business the way we saw fit, as far as less than and no greater than, and we gave you latitude. And I can tell you from experience that every single good deed never goes unpunished. Every time you try to do something good for somebody, it comes back to bite you. I mean, every single time. There's not one time it happens that you don't get bit.
So
And in
let's
this
just get the
case,
square
we
footage.
got bit.
Let's just
Get
get
the
the
square
square
footage.
footage.
Okay,
Somebody
so,
make a motion about square footage.
so the square foot of all the buildings on the property, is this right, Larry, is 69,880.
0, yeah.
That's right, 69,880. That's a corrected number that is accurate.
69880.
That's
Is that what
right.
it says on
And
the-
That's what I got.
That will remain the same when you
Yeah,
come back
that's-
in March?
Excuse me?
That's gonna be the same when you come back in March?
Yes.
Oh.
No,
So if we approve this number, this is the number. It's not gonna be 80,024 on site. It's gonna
no,
be.
that was the previous.
And that's gonna include that boat building down back you just discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to change, to amend the square foot allowed to, from, let's do it this way, let's say from 57,
No.
from 57,066 to 69,880 square foot. Okay, I'll make a motion, who seconds?
Second.
Second, any discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that goes in, that changes that. But, we, let me make another motion that we need a Mylar. We need a Mylar of,
Suitable for recording.
suitable, well, yeah, we need a Mylar suitable for recording, indicating, the, building 105 in compliance, B 105 in compliance with, zoning bylaw setbacks.
Okay, so that can't occur until the building is either moved or some other.
Well, I mean, at any, listen, it has to be 15 feet, I don't care how you do it.
No, I'm not-
You-
I'm not
I know,
arguing with
I mean, you can put 15 feet, I don't know how, you can get a helicopter and pick it up, I mean, you know, you
I know,
just-
what I'm
you
trying to
have that
say
guy
is
put it
like-
on there.
We can't get Mashonda to stamp that it has the right
Oh,
setback
until
until it's moved.
you're right,
or whatever.
you're right, you're right, I'm sorry, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right.
That's
Maybe you
what
can
I'm
write
saying.
propose on it or something, or propose, or some,
back
make a
Maybe
deline,
we can handle it.
you can make a delineation up on the, right down here, underneath here, that says that the, right here, building B 105 is in the process of being relocated to meet existing 15-foot setbacks. And
Whatever
then
he-
that can get recorded.
Whatever he can do in compliance with the registry's rules, 'cause
File this within 14 days.
Right.
We have to file the special permit with 14 days. Can we get an extension for the Mylar? Can you get that Mylar done right away? And put a, right at the top, just put there that building B 105.
How'd they do it before?
yeah, okay.
How'd they do
I
it
think you
before?
can put a note on it
Yeah.
that it doesn't conform to the setback.
Tom,
'Cause
can I ask a question?
Wait a minute, hold on a second, wait.
when he
wait.
stamps that plan, you know, he's stamping.
Yeah, no,
But he could put a note that.
he
it
could put
Put
an
an
doesn't-
exception.
He could put a note that says, this building will be moved to, will comply with 15-foot setbacks. Just-
Doesn't conform to the setback.
But it will.
conform with the
That's right.
decision.
That's right, there you go. Then we can get that recorded.
Does it matter in the process of doing that, they tell what their method of doing it is?
No, we don't care.
Doesn't
No, we don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, like I said, you can have a helicopter do it if you want.
And
Well, we
just-
got a couple other.
Yeah, we don't care, you can put it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, a couple other issues here.
Right, I know, I agree.
It's big concrete, so.
We didn't vote on that.
We got the issue of lighting still, right?
7 to 7.
Wait a minute, I got a couple, wait a minute. Okay, now,
Yeah, we have a few
Now-
other minor issues,
now,
I think.
now, if
but
you look on the
important.
board, the hours of operation, and here again, this is because, thank you very much for giving us that matrix. The hours of operation was 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 7 to 4 on Saturday, and they changed it, later they went back to 7 to 1 on Saturday. So when we talked to him, when he came in here, we had no idea what the hours were, because no one knew it. Now we know, I think it's incumbent upon the board not to exceed those numbers. I think that's a pretty basic expansion of the use. What do you think, Dan?
We granted them 7 to 7.
Yeah, but that was based on, we didn't know what their hours were.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
I'll tell you, first of all, people who went there, number one. But
Yeah.
number two, on the application,
Yeah.
this is the original application
Yeah.
for March. I
Yeah.
had 7 to 4:30 hours for Esty.
Yeah.
I wrote it down because it was said at the meeting.
How was it?
Okay, so, what I'm
Okay.
saying is that you gave them 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday,
Yeah.
closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
My motion, I'll make a motion,
Go ahead, make a
okay.
motion, go ahead, do it.
My motion is to keep the hours of operation from 7 to 7, Monday through Saturday, closed on Sunday, and all federal holidays, including New Year's Day.
How about, that's my next one, I didn't get to that yet, state and federal,
Well, but that's part of hours of operation, is it not?
yes,
Okay, so this is my motion.
okay.
Just federal.
You want to make my motion for me,
Go
or?
ahead. No,
Okay.
you do it, go ahead, no, you're doing a good job, do it.
Closed on federal holidays, including New Year's Day, so I went up and I looked at the list of federal holidays,
Okay.
okay? So you have New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Now, that's for the fact that it's in a residential zone, so you have to be aware of what's going on around you. If it were in a commercial zone, if it were industrial zone, we wouldn't care, but because you have, all of those neighbors and residences are active on those days, especially Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, those kinds of things.
And then, this,
And
Okay.
to help maintain the peace and quiet in the neighborhood. That's my motion.
okay,
Is it gonna pertain to the front and the rear building, or just
the
the
whole
rear?
property.
So it's, it's 7 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and closed on Sunday?
And federal
And
holidays.
all federal holidays.
All federal
Those are
holidays.
federal holidays.
And she just listened, but we
Okay.
can get. we
I
can
have the
get a
list,
copy.
I can give it to you.
You should give the list. We got a second it?
Second.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Discussion?
Discussion, go ahead.
What other holidays again?
Federal.
Because
The
first you
federal
said
holidays, but-
federal and state.
I took a state
No, I
out.
didn't say state.
I said that, because I had that on my
No,
own.
I had
I don't like
federal.
state, because I work on Patriots Day and
No,
some others, you
I
know.
said federal, and I looked them up
Evacuation
from
day.
All right.
the federal
that's
government,
fine.
their official list.
And why Christmas? I mean, isn't there a separation of church and state? I mean, you know, what if you're a Buddhist or something like that? I find that very
That's another
offensive.
debate for another day.
Okay,
I find that very offensive. I
so-
work on Christmas.
Monday through
Seconded.
Friday.
Michael seconded.
Yep, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tom, how many more do we have?
One last thing,
One last thing.
Okay,
lighting.
Let's
The last thing would be
Yeah,
the area
Just wanna be a pain in the ass.
lighting on the existing property, which we didn't have, was 4. And I don't know what you got there, Larry, now. I mean, probably every building's got a area light on it.
Well, area lighting was, there was telephone poles there.
Yeah.
And they had these big lights here, they pretty much lit up the whole
4.
place.
4 of them, though.
4 of them, yeah.
How many
Well,
lights you
that's
got
all I
there now?
needed.
How many you got now?
It was lit up like Fenway Park then.
How many you got now, though?
Well, now, there's a light on every building, which,
Yeah.
there was a light on every building as well.
Yeah, I mean, lights are one thing, because if you got an exit door, you should have a light,
I think it's
okay?
called floodlights.
We're talking
But I'm
area,
talking about the aerial lights that come up that are more than 100 amps, 100,
What?
Yeah.
How many overhead lights?
Why don't you wanna limit the wattage?
well, I want to limit the
No, we
lights
have
to what you
lights.
had.
How many overhead
You had
lights do you
4,
have?
you gotta have 4.
I think I only have 4 now. 4 that are floodlights.
Yeah, that's
If
what you
the,
can
uh,
have.
well, go ahead,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I've gone down to the property, and the only lights that I can say that would bother those neighbors is on the original hardware store.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
And it's at a doorway, it is to code.
Shut 'em off.
There's one light at that top of that doorway
BB gun?
that if you were in the house that's complaining and they looked out, they can see the brightness of the light, they can't see that light shining, but they can see the brightness of that light. And then the only other one that I saw was on the back of one of the buildings, it faced that neighborhood. So I was gonna suggest putting a shield on that guy down,
Putting down lights down there.
down, lights down, lower the voltage, and the other one on the building for the time being, if you can move it, get it so it's not hitting that neighborhood,
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be good. Why limit yourself to have to do poles?
Yeah.
Get the lights that are facing that neighborhood out of there.
The ones,
Dan
the one
Dan
that
made a
I,
good suggestion, you know, if you're going in your property on the left-hand side, there's an easement there, the power easement. If you could just put a shield on the right-hand side of your lights, which would shield it from any residential property, and let the light go that way, it's probably gonna eliminate the issues that we have here.
yeah. And just
That's
reposition
That's
them.
the other side of Wharf Lane.
Yeah, they're complaining about the side of the buildings that are facing Wharf Lane, that's where they're complaining.
What I'm
Yeah,
saying
you know-
is if you were to shield the lights on the right-hand side of your property, of all those lights, and let the light go the other way, the other side, you've got a
okay.
power line.
Power line, nobody
Yeah,
cares.
yeah,
Nobody's
so-
over
so
there.
Right.
if you shield this side, you got the same light, you got it down here and going that way, and we're not getting
It's
complaints.
going left instead of right.
Yeah, we're not getting complaints on the left, we're getting complaints on the right.
And the one that I
Just the
noticed going
direction of
by
the
at
beam,
night
just,
is on the back of building 1 or A, the front building. It
That's what
seems like,
Bill said.
is that the
Yeah.
one you were
That's it,
talking
yeah,
about? The one
yeah.
that was on the back of the hardware store?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
exactly.
that's
So if
definitely
you
the
put a
one.
shield on the right side of
Right,
that one
or
and the other one, you'd be
reposition it,
fine.
Right.
or
And if
cut off
you- if
luminaire.
it was
They make them
spring-
like that.
If it was
And they just
spring and the
shoot
trees
down.
have the leaves on it, I can't believe you can see any of those lights. But the leaves are off the trees, and like I said, I was down in my truck, I looked through, Mr. Harper put the bushes in, great job. I mean, that's not the issue. The issue is, like they said, when they're up in their bedrooms, or up, and it was 2 that came in. In all fairness, I think they saw the brightness. They're bright lights. I mean,
Yeah.
they're probably LED, I don't know.
And I found nice, very nice LED lights that shine right straight down. They're covered on the top, and they just shoot right straight down, and they're fairly inexpensive, and they're very easy to install too. I don't think it would be a big deal. Very LED, which are nice and energy efficient. I've used them in other places where I've had similar type issues, where neighbors were having issues, and they haven't complained about these. They're like flat lights, and they shoot only down. Just a suggestion.
Okay, now, you wanna make a motion on that?
My motion is no more than 4 lights,
Okay?
area lights.
Yep.
Okay, excuse me.
Yep.
no more than 4 area lights pointed away from the neighbors.
Yep.
Or cut off luminaire shooting
Well,
straight down.
We had cut off luminaire on the existing one.
I understand,
yeah, it
but
did-
it,
did, yeah.
but there are ways you can do it that
I
are
know.
easier than others. That's what I was proposing.
Okay, away from, okay, yep. Did you get that?
And my other part of the motion would be that if any more complaints are received by the neighbors, or from the neighbors, excuse me, regarding the lighting, that you address them within 24 hours and talk to them and say, okay, you know, which light is it? Talk with them about, you know, maybe reposition it, maybe you gotta point it a little bit left, a little, you know. I think that would go a long way into working with the neighbors, that if they do have a complaint and they say, yes, it still is coming into my bedroom, even though you made the adjustments, that you'd just work with them and point it, you know, another 5 degrees the other way or something.
Okay, how about a seconded?
You wanna have a time on this one?
It ought to be done by, the March 4th is a good, March 4th,
Oh, for the,
to get
for
that done?
the actually lights outside, you
Yeah,
mean?
March 4th.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, March 4th, no lights. Okay, how about a seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded, Dan, any discussion, all those in favor? Okay, all right, I think we gotta add, and I think we gotta add, now this is gonna be portrayed as an amended special permit to the existing permit. This will be an amended, so all the existing conditions of approval prevail, and I think that we should add an 8A, which would state that the buildings in the rear are for inside storage only. Did I get a motion on that?
Did you do that building
Can I-
by building?
No, we did, but I think it should be in the amended approval. We missed it. So,
Can we designate what those buildings are that are in the rear?
buildings,
Designate them all except 101,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
all numbered.
All numbered buildings, yeah.
Further clarification on the lights.
Yes.
You know, there's floodlights, which are area lights, and then these other lights are over the doors.
Correct.
Every one of those doors has a light over it, so to speak.
Right.
So that's.
We were talking more specifically
talking
about
the-
the one in the back of building
We're
1.
talking
that
area
shoots
lights.
That
I got
way.
you, I got
Eric,
you. And I know which one it is.
We're
Yeah.
talking area lights. The one over the doors are a code issue. You have to have
I
one
got
to
that
come in.
difference.
That-
Two
but-
separate issues.
but yeah,
Four-
Now,
those,
right-
those you gotta have them. That's not,
4
not an
floods,
issue.
but then also address the light over that back, in the back of
light
that
is
building.
presently off the building.
I'm sorry?
We took that light down, but I'm gonna replace it with a down light.
I noticed that too, when I drove, it's darker
Yeah, it's
there.
I
down.
mean,
Oh, it
they-
is.
they- I mean,
Couple
they make
months
a
ago, I
box
thought it was
light,
up.
I think I mentioned
which
it.
is
We
a
already
cut-off
talked about
luminaire light,
lights.
and
Let's
just
move on.
goes down. You don't see it this way, it's all down, right there. That's what you need to do. So we need I'll make a motion then, that we make an amendment to the existing permit, special permit would be 8A, and that would be that the buildings in the rear are for inside storage only, and that's what we've approved, but it should be in there, so. Okay, need a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Now, is there anything else on the list that we missed? I don't wanna miss anything. What's that?
Going through my list.
Okay. I think that's,
Oh,
what?
I did have one last thing. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I know you're all gonna kill me now.
That's all right.
But signage,
Signage.
okay, so,
Existing, we got that on here. It's existing.
right, the existing, I just want clarification, right?
Yeah.
So, the existing sign on the front, the pylon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That had the
Had
wood.
Estes lumber, yeah.
Right, the
Yeah.
wood Estes lumber sign.
Yeah.
I would like that to be the only sign. So anybody who comes into the front building
That
can
is.
have a sign there or a pylon.
That's what we got.
I wanted to say that because of what happened with the sprinkler company,
Okay.
and no other signage beside,
Okay.
anybody who's in there, they
Okay.
want a sign, it should be on the front pylon.
Okay.
So you don't
Almost like a
have
plaza has their
50
own
signs,
sign.
yeah.
Well, let's say,
You don't have 50 signs out there, you know what I mean?
under 3, under signs, you should put that the existing current sign with names of business is the only.
Oh, it is on there?
It's on there. but-
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, you know, right at the front gate, you know, for the fire department, I was gonna put one sign with the B10, a little
That's a
map.
directory.
Those are
That's a
advertising.
directory.
That's a
That's a
directory
little
sign. Those are allowed.
Sign?
Those are allowed.
Yeah,
Okay.
directory sign.
In, out,
Even better.
left,
I know
right,
that-
stay to the left,
I-
right. That's-
I know the fire department now requires you to have a number on your building.
Yeah.
And they have to have what's in there because they want to know when they
Oh,
go
yeah.
through.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean that. I meant
No,
marketing
right,
of any businesses, you know, B&B Sprinkler or ABC, you know, contracting, or anybody who goes in the front, that it be limited to that front sign. So you
Yeah,
have,
it's on there.
like a pylon, like a regular, you know, plaza would have, you know, you'd have, 8, you know, spaces or whatever, and
No, it's already there.
just
It's
all
a-
in the front.
It's a, existing,
But that will,
So,
ground
you're saying
sign.
I can't have any signs on, you know, somebody rents a place that like the.
Yeah, we
in
already
the
talked
front,
about that.
And he said
they're
it
gonna
on
come
the-
to us anyway, and they'll
Storage
get their
buildings-
The
signage
front
that,
they are.
yes.
yeah,
But
the
I'm
front.
talking overall.
Yeah, the back, we're talking, she's talking about from the gate back. That's storage. I mean, storage, doesn't have signs. Storage
The
has
question was,
storage.
what about people who come in who want to rent in the building one? And I said, well, each one of those businesses is gonna come to us,
That's right.
and part of that
That's
permit
right.
process will be
Oh,
their
yeah,
signage.
that's gonna take care of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And the cover, the use is covered on that front
It's already
building,
there.
right?
it's already there, the
There's
one that
existing
has the
signs already
SEC,
there.
yeah.
We have the,
I mean, and then if that's gonna change, you gotta get a sign
Yeah,
permit for
no,
that
it's all-
anyway.
That's all set.
So, but I just,
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Yeah, well, no, hold on, so I think, let's just make sure that, I'm gonna run down. Bill, any other questions?
no, the only question I
Jane?
had was, okay,
Oh, go, so, you said no, then you got the only, you said no, and then.
Say no.
Yeah,
no, just the front building, we have the use covered under the front
yeah,
building,
the buildings come, they have to come back, yep,
okay,
yeah, all the uses of the front
Okay.
building comes here
Okay.
for a special permit.
okay.
Nothing?
Jane?
Nope,
Nope.
nothing.
Nothing, Mike?
nope,
Nope.
I'm good.
I'm getting old.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Sleep.
Third.
11:25.
11 too late.
Go
Hi,
through
Val.
this overall
Okay.
amendment to the
Yeah, I'm resigned tomorrow, I'm all done. Oh, yes, I am, no, I'm all done, I've had enough.
You're reacting.
No, I've had enough of you guys. You know, I spent 60, 70 hours on here, and you just wanna aggravate me.
You get 95% of what you wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't get the other 5, did you? Get 95.
No, just throw it away.
Had enough.
It's at the end of the slide.
You know what, I just,
No, it's dinner.
I've worked too much, I just worked too much to take that bullshit.
Hey,
Good job, Tom.
Thank you.
Good night. Bill?
Bill, see you.
I'll do that all night long. Your hand must kill you.